Fox Deportes. The Big Ten Network. Speed. Fuel TV. FoxSports.com. Fox Soccer. FSN. And Fox Sports, the greatest collection of sports properties in the world.
We are Fox Sports!
Hey y'all, it's racing day, so loud out here I can't hear a thing. Man, the fans are going wild. And these drivers came to rock, and no place else but Fox knows how to do it NASCAR style.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Hey now, here we go, race day. Don't you be going slow. Keep that pedal down on the floor. Push it till the crowd can't take no more. Then hair since the flag came down. Be hair to the last lap around. Worked all week, it's time to play. Gonna get a little bit sideways. Hair since the flag came down. Be hair to the last lap around. Worked all week, it's time to play. Gonna get a little bit sideways.
This is NASCAR's shortest and oldest track, Martinsville, Virginia. And time for the NASCAR on Fox pre-race show, delivered by Pizza Hut. There's a reason people keep coming back, drivers included. This season, the first 5 races, we've had 5 different winners. Which driver will step up today and steer his way to the front? Today, the racing could get down and dirty. And over the past, it's been tough to win here. He won 15 times, the king. The weather, terrific, sunny with temperature in the 60s. There is a little breeze kicking around, not as bad as it was yesterday, as we welcome you, located on the track in the middle of it all. And we're glad you're with us for NASCAR on Fox. Hi, I'm Chris Myers. It's the place where America gathers every weekend for NASCAR with the driver, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond. Of course, Darrell, you won here 11 times. I know today you're excited, but a little upset about your Kentucky Wildcats losing.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up, Chris. The tournament went to the Dogs. That's all I can say. It went to the Dogs.
The Bulldogs. Hey, but I know that Denny Hamlin's upset that Virginia Commonwealth, his team, also lost.
I know that kind of upset him a little bit. The main thing is right now, Chris, he's looking for another grandfather clock. He saw it the other day during an interview, and he said, that's mine. I'm taking it home Sunday. He'll be tough today.
No, he's worried he doesn't blow up like his VCU guys did.
Or some engine issue. We'll talk to Denny coming up in just a bit, but let's cover today's headlines. And Roush Racing close to re-signing Greg Biffle to a new contract. He's 20th in points. He just rode by here. His teammate Carl Edwards, points leader, unsigned after this year. 2007 Formula One champion Kimi Räikkönen, considering coming to NASCAR, expected to make his Truck Series debut in Charlotte. And Jamie McMurray on the pole, his first pole of the season. The driver starting first has won here 19 times. And the 2 drivers who've won the last 9 Martinsville races, not starting among the top 4 spots. Denny Hamlin 5th. Jimmy Johnson is starting 17th. So how will that, with 4 guys up front who haven't won before, Jeff, how will that affect the early going of this race?
I think it's going to be fine. I think that the fact that, that Jamie McMurray, he's very smooth. Ryan Newman, very good at doing these things. Both these guys are great road racers. I look for them to be leading this race pretty early and being pretty much a factor all day long.
Well, I go back in the field. I mean, the guy that has one of the best average finishes here, Jimmy Johnson, starting deep in the field, but he'll be at the front before the day's over with.
And it's tough to win here. We've got 8 former champions, guys like Bobby Allison, Ned Jarrett. They were never able to win on this track.
Well, this track in Hammond, they have a lot in common.
What's that?
They both give me a headache. and this joint can give you a headache. Right. I'm telling you, it's a tough little track to get around.
So what are the do's and don'ts?
Well, the thing is, the don'ts. I mean, it's really a don't racetrack, Chris, because you don't want to overdrive the corners. You don't want to get on the curves. You don't want to wear out the brakes. And the guys who do it the best are the guys that are winning races, like Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Denny Hamlin. They don't do these things, and they win.
I don't listen to Hammond very often. He might be right.
There's one of your don't. All right, well, we're in South Central Virginia. In Martinsville, it's a small, quiet, kind of peaceful community of about 14,000 until the green flag drops, and then it's every man for himself.
This is short track racing at its finest.
It's classic Martinsville. It's going to get crazy.
In Martinsville, You got to battle for every inch.
Have at it, boys. The gloves are off.
This is a place that breeds frustration.
I'm a good teammate, and I'm not going to take him running into me. Go get that 48. If he's going to run me like that, he's giving me no choice. Woo! What a run! That was my year. I just beat there. Might have him off, but I don't care.
He's my teammate. It's going to be some interesting racing going forward.
It is on. You got no friends. You're out there to win this race, and you have to do it on your own.
Well, you know it's a wild time when teammates are going at it. It brings out some of the best, but what else does it bring out in a driver?
Well, I like to watch Jeff Gordon here. He's as smooth as fine wine around this place. He's going to get you a top 10 finish. I don't know if he can win today, but I guarantee you he'll be up there in the hunt.
We sold Bristol as the place where the tempers would be. You think this is more so?
More so. I really believe that right there, Chris. And I ain't got no stinking teammates, folks. That's the thing is right now, when they drop the green flag today, this place will become the little house of horrors, in my opinion. It's going to be a lot of beating and banging, and it's all going to be because, you know, you got to get to the front. There's only be one way to get there, pushing and shoving.
He always told me there was no I in team, so I guess he must know.
Ideal weather conditions. It's 500 laps around. Remember, this is just over a half-mile track. Here's what's around the turn. You hear the fans reacting as some drivers being introduced. Well, the closer is what they're calling Kevin Harvick, his new nickname. And DW sat down with Happy Harvick, who has even a better nickname. You'll find out. Martinsville is where Denny Hamlin started that remarkable run last year. We're going to see if he can get into gear. He'll talk with us. And our guys, they're all pumped up for Gas and Go. We're live in Virginia, and we're glad you're with us.
NASCAR cruised to Hollywood last week, and things got wild out west. Leading man Kyle Busch stole the show and dominated the day until the final act starred 3 heroes. But in the end, it was the closer who made his move.
Here he comes. He's got him.
Harvick wins it. The best closer in the business.
Awesome job, guys.
NASCAR providing, I should say, plenty of comic book material. And we're glad you're watching the NASCAR and Fox pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut. If you need any further evidence that Kevin Harvick is the closer, 3 of his last 5 wins have come on a last lap pass. And when you race him, it's no day at the beach. In fact, Harvick spent some time at the beach on kind of a mini vacation this week to relax. Said it was nice waking up and not having anything to do. And then afterwards, he had to talk to you, Darrell.
Well, really and truly, that's why he took the vacation. Had to get a little rest so ODW could put some hard questions to him.
Harvick's the best closer in the business.
Better not take their eye off Kevin Harvick.
You know who's going to win this race? That 29 car.
Here comes Harvick.
He's got him.
It got loose.
He's got him.
Harvick wins it.
29.
That was textbook, at least in your textbook.
Yeah.
Where do these last lap passes come from?
I don't know, but I wish we could just go out there and just, you know, dominate one day and not have to worry about all that last lap stuff. But it always seems like we have that little flair for the end of the race.
You have a number of nicknames, but Mr. Where'd he come from? And Happy.
Right.
Which, that's kind of a contradiction.
Right.
But my favorite is the Bakersfield Basher.
Oh, man. Well, you know, a lot of that came from a few instances at the end of a few races where kind of the same deal. You kind of show up, and the next thing you knew, the guy that was winning was wrecked or spun out or something. So I had a few incidents in my younger days.
At Dover, Hamlin has a press conference, talks about your teammate.
They were warned, and they were warned before Richmond. So everyone in the garage knows that. I think they're just trying to salvage their season.
Now, you don't have a dog in that fight that I'm aware of. And the next thing I know, you're out on the racetrack running all over Hamlin.
Somebody has to step up and do what they have to do for the organization, whether it's your car or not. And those people expect somebody to protect who they are because they would do the same for you.
Well, they're really good, but really lucky, too. They have a golden horseshoe stuck up.
I had a golden horseshoe for you.
Yeah.
Man,
I've got a whole office full of them.
People been sending them to you?
For a year now.
Yep. Well, you made a big deal out of that, and what do you think? You think you dropped it this year?
I hope so. I hope it's wedged up, and I hope I can carry it. Wedged up wherever it needs to be.
Are you obsessed with beating Jimmy Johnson? Well, the reason I asked is because your car last week had his name on it.
Yeah.
You actually changed the code on your phone?
Yeah, the code is 4848, just for the fact that, you know, it's just a reminder.
Well, so 48-48 on your phone, got the man's name on your car last week, and you beat him, but you say, well, I'm not obsessed with him. He hardly ever enters my mind.
I'm obsessed with what he has.
You going to win in here in Martinsville?
So you want me to do the Tide slide?
I wish you would. I've been waiting for you to do it. Show me.
I don't want to do the Tide slide. You want me to do the Icky shuffle. Oh, I can't.
Come on, man. Let me see you. I'll show you how. Come on. There you go. Look. You get up on this one.
So
come on. Get up on this one. You get up on this one, and you get up on this one, and then you give them one of these, and then you spike it.
All right.
I love the guy. To tell you the truth, he is cut out of the Earnhardt mold. But he also exemplifies, I think, what Richard Childress Racing is all about. They're a bunch of junkyard dogs, and they'll get after you, and they have fun doing it, and that's what I love about Harvick.
Yeah, he does have that intimidator attitude. He's walking right by the set where we are here down on the track. You know, what a turnaround. Last year, of course, he was the regular season points champ, got the new contract. He's bounced back, third in the championship picture.
Yeah, the thing is right now what's amazing is the fact that, just a year ago, he was almost getting ready to leave Richard Childress Racing. They basically mended the fences. Now he's back out there. Like Darrell says, he has definitely got RCR attitude right now. And Darrell, he's already looking at you and saying, hey, you guys are on the same page today. So.
He was just walking by.
He gave me one of these.
And by the way, the Bakersfield Basher, who was the first one?
Oh, that's the first thing he said. Chris Myers. I wish he hadn't have done that.
Well, that's because he kept picking on me. He's picking on everybody. That's who he's obsessed with as announcers. No, but he's the one guy's got that take-it-away attitude from Jimmy Johnson. It could be Kevin Harvick. For more of the interview, go to foxsports.com. And a reminder, next week, we're going to be in Texas, where history will be made with the first night race there at a fast track with even more amazing speeds. And then following Texas, 2 weeks from today, the NASCAR on Fox pre-race show, delivered by Pizza Hut, will be live at Talladega with a special one-hour edition. Join us to be part of it all, the biggest NASCAR pre-race show at the biggest NASCAR track. Call 1-877-GO-TADEGA or log on to TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. NASCAR on Fox pre-race show is delivered by Pizza Hut. Don't wait for the last lap. Order now to get your favorite pizzas at low prices. And live here in Virginia, Ryan Newman on the front row with pole sitter Jamie McMurray. Second in points, he's never won here. Jeff Burton from South Boston, Virginia, led the most laps last fall at this race before finishing ninth. Jeff Burton will start 16th today. Well, time to pick a winner in the Pizza Hut standings. Larry McReynolds is our leader. Jeff Hammond moving up, closing the gap. We have Darrell and the fans and Mike Joyce. So for today's selections, let's start up in the booth with Mike and Larry.
Yeah, Chris, they think they're closing the gap on old Larry Mack, but I think another winless streak will come to an end here today. Keep an eye on the driver that qualified third, Casey Kane.
Well, I'm close to getting out of the cellar, Larry, but I need some expert help, so I brought my expert to make this week's pick.
Well, Dad, I'm going to pick Ryan Newman. He was fourth year last year, and he has had 10 top 10 finishes in his last 13 short track races. Back to you, Jeff.
Well, Scott, that's a bold pick right there. I like what you're thinking, but I'm going to go with the guy who's been getting it done 3 in a row. Could make it 4 today, Denny Hamlin.
I'm going with a guy that has no DNFs here. He has 7 wins, and he has 29 top 10 finishes out of 36 races. Jeff Gordon will be the man today.
All right, and also, by the way, Kate Lynn is here, Mike's daughter, but Scott gets the pick for this week. We'll see how he does. You can log on to foxsports.com/Pizza Hut. Vote for the driver you think will win, and you'll have a chance to win a trip to next year's Daytona 500. Watch for updates during the race and see who won the fan favorite Pizza Hut driver. Well, a favorite here all the time is Virginia native Denny Hamlin. And he stated that his favorite movie is The Shawshank Redemption. Last week, the blown engine on his car resulting in a 39th place finish in California. So maybe today, Denny has a little redemption of his own in store. After all, he's won the last 3 Martinsville races.
The new leader is Denny Hamlin. We knew he was going to be a player. He knows what it takes to get to Martinsville Victory Lane.
Denny Hamlin cleans everybody's clock at Martinsville.
Because this is his house, and we know that.
And we welcome the driver of the 11 FedEx car, Denny Hamlin. Denny, thanks for being with us. And describe for us how your style on this short track, why it works so well.
Well, I can't tell you too much because all these competitors come back and watch this race. But it's just, I think it's conservation of my race car, the brakes and things like that throughout the day. That always seems to help. But really, just I've been given great race cars every time we come here. I think Mike is a great short track crew chief. I think he knows what he needs to work on when we come here, and I feel like I give him good information. And so we always have a winning car every time we come here. So whether it be the new car, old car, this tire, that tire, it seems we're always towards the front because, you know, the core group of guys that we have around us.
Hey, Denny, it's DW. Look, buddy, I guess our teams are on their way home, huh? Not so good. VCU, Kentucky didn't do too good last night. But have a question for you. You qualified 5th, and that's something you said you needed to work on, improve my qualifying. You did that here. You got over the last 9 races, you got a 2.4 average finish. What could go wrong today?
There's a lot, you know, which is amazing that, you know, myself and Jimmy have had so much success here at this racetrack because there is so much that can happen. There's wrecks at every corner, and we just don't necessarily spin out. So it's just crazy the stats that's happened over these last 9 races, and I don't know what to say. You know, I just hope it just keeps going today because we obviously need to kind of kickstart our season.
Denny, this is Jeff. A lot of fans are wanting to know, have you guys got your engine problem fixed? Because they know how good you are here today, and they don't want to see anything get in your way, get in the victory lane.
Well, there's some things that we worked on over this past week to try to fix our engine issues. Obviously, it's not going to be truly fixed until we run 500 laps or 500 miles and we don't have a failure. So we're not going to know until that happens, and obviously we're keeping our fingers crossed today. So I'm proud of everyone here at this FedEx team for working as hard as they have on those engines, and we're going to just keep digging. I mean, this is where we kicked our season off last year, and hopefully we have that same success this year.
All right, Denny, good luck. We hope you get it going today. All right, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Denny Hamlin with us. Coming up, Gas and Go. But first, check out NASCAR's brand new video game, NASCAR 2011. It went on sale Tuesday, still available. It's their first new game in 3 years. Here's a preview with Carl Edwards behind the wheel. Welcome back to the Fox Pre-Race Show, delivered by Pizza Hut. We're live in Martinsville, and there is 20-year-old Trevor Bayne. Man, is he popular, the winner of the Daytona 500. On Friday, Bayne signed autographs. You know, the Wood brothers, of course, own his car, and for years, Stewart, Virginia was the Wood brothers' home base. Trevor was supposed to sign until 9 o'clock. He stayed until midnight, signing away.
They haven't ever done an event like this here at their shop and museum. So, I mean, I don't know how long it's been since the whole family was gathered together kind of around a racing-centered theme. This is definitely one of the coolest events we've done all year so far.
What a likable kid. Time for Gas to Go. We ask the questions. They provide the answers. You're on the clock. It's for both of you. Darrell, you go first. Trevor Bayne, since the Daytona 500. Best finish is 20th. Will his struggles continue today?
I believe he'll have a good day. I'll tell you why. He likes this little short track. The Wood brothers, it's a home track, as we said. And let me tell you, he's been going around talking to everybody in the garage area. Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart. The kid's soaking up a lot of information. It'll pay off today.
I don't think so. Rookie is going to have a rookie day here at Martinsville. He's going to wear his brakes out. He will not have the day you're looking for.
Oh, all right. We're hoping to see him at Talladega, maybe the All-Star race. All right, for you, Darrell, Jeff Gordon dropped to 16th in points after the win in Phoenix, but he's won here 7 times. I know you picked him. How does he turn it around here?
Well, he's so good here, Chris. He will finish this race. We know that. And that's the first thing you got to do. In order to finish first, you got to first finish. He will be there when it's over with.
As you said, he's super smooth. Jeff, is it a good idea for the frustrated Tony Stewart to get more involved in late race decisions? Remember, he led 11 laps last week but wound up 13th.
No, stick with what you do, Tony. Drive the race car. Tell Darian he needs to get his job done. You've been doing yours.
Darian Grubb, the crew chief. All right, for you, Darrell, Carl Edwards has never led a lap at Martinsville. He's the points leader. Is this place not conducive to his style of racing?
Carl's an up. You know, I talk about it all the time. Up on the wheel, up on the wheel. That doesn't pay off good. This doesn't pay off here. You got to be smooth on the gas. He's an old dirt track racer. Likes to throw it around too much. Don't think he's going to have a great day.
You used to call him Kirby when he first showed up here.
Looked like he was dancing there with all those moves. All right, for both of you guys, two guys that haven't worked together before on this track, but they've had success, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Letarte, crew chief driver, but they start 26th today. How do they work to the front?
I think they're going to be fine. I mean, they'll be patient. I think Dale is good here. Steve will make the right calls. They'll get track position. That 88, I think, is going to be a handful before the day's all said and done. He'll be a factor.
Too deep in the field. Okay. I don't like that. The key word, body damage.
All right, we got to wrap it here, but what did you do with all those 11 grandfather clocks that you won here at Martinsville?
Gave most of them away. Hammond's got one. Most of the owners I drove for got one. Mom's got one. Sister's got one. Attorney's got one. Accountant's got one. Banker's got one.
That's not a write-off on April 15th. All right, Darrell, you sound revved up already. What does it take to get him revved up? How about a camera and a microphone?
No, that would work, but let me tell you what I'm revved up about today, Chris Hammond. I'm revved up today about great racing. Best competition I've seen in years. 5 races, folks, and 5 different faces, including Trevor Bayne. He turns 20 the day before the Daytona 500, and what does he do? He goes out and wins it. Are you kidding me? That's like a kid from high school winning the Super Bowl. Now, did you see Kevin Harvick's bump and run at California last week? Folks, this season's been full of great finishes, last lap passes. These guys are more aggressive than ever before. It may be on the first lap. Hey, it may be on the last one. But these guys will run over each other to win a race right now. Even the manufacturers are in the fight. Top 4 drivers, all in different makes of cars. 5 different pole winners in 6 races. Folks, we may be at a half-mile racetrack today, but it has over a half a century of history. Someone's going to add to that history today, and that's what I revved up about today.
All right, you're heading up to the
boogity
to the play-by-play booth, and Jeff and I will get ready for them to crank their engines in just a moment. At NASCAR's oldest track, we come to attention for opening ceremonies. Let's head trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Joint Color Guard of local law enforcement agencies presents our nation's colors. Remain standing as chairman of the National Fellowship of Raceway Ministries, David Martin, offers today's invocation.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you today that you're an amazing God, that you are a God of wonders and majesty. You are holy and just. And today we acknowledge that we need you. We need your blessings. We pray your blessing upon the race, that you keep everyone safe. We pray your blessing upon the troops. And Father, we pray that you would bless America, that America would bless you because you are indeed amazing. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Show Dog Universal Recording Artist, Trace Atkins.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's hear it.
Always a great scene here in Martinsville, Virginia, on a picture-perfect day. And the drivers are ready to go racing short track style. It's NASCAR on Fox. We're glad you're watching the NASCAR on Fox pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut. And it's an out-of-this-world experience in Martinsville, Virginia at the Speedway. And if you were to Google us, that's where we are. We're glad you're with us. You can see the track from above at the border of North Carolina and here in Virginia. If you look closely enough, you can see Jeff Hammond's car being towed. Not really, but let's check in with Jeff.
At Martinsville's all about the brakes. Here's the package a lot of the teams will be running today. At this point here, the rotor and the pad, 1,700 degrees, transferring a lot of heat, not only through the brakes, but also into the rim area. Right through here is where the bead of the tire is set. This is the bead of the tire. Around this is what keeps the air inside the tire on the rim. Overheat that, what happens? You melt the bead, you lose the tire, you lose the race.
Thanks. And Jeff and I will be in the Hollywood Hotel enjoying the race with all of you. And we mentioned the oldest track. They began racing here back in 1949. So when Cup racing began, Harry Truman was president. A gallon of gas cost just 26 cents. And Red Byron won that first race before 6,000 fans. And we have almost quadruple the population of what Martinsville, Virginia would normally be if they didn't have a NASCAR race here in town. It's NASCAR on Fox, so let's head down there trackside.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome representatives from the Wounded Warrior Project, Chris Bowers, Joe Brazel, and Rashi Hall.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Will Jimmy Johnson get his first win of the season? Can Dale Earnhardt Jr. end his winless streak? The answers are straight ahead.
And it's hey now, here we go. Gonna get a little bit sideways.
And in Martinsville, the crowd, after all the March Madness, anxious in April. Not sure what to expect today. And as we head upstairs from the Hollywood Hotel, we congratulate Mike Joy, who's been named winner of the Henry T. McLemore Award for Excellence in Motorsports Journalism. Mike, congratulations on that. We're all proud.
Thank you, Chris. And hi, everybody. I get choked up coming here. I love this place. This, if you're a baseball fan, this is Fenway Park. This is Wrigley Field. It's where 60-some years of the ghosts of racing still circulate this half-mile paper clip. You come here, you have the roots of racing, and yet it's as modern as today. And, Darrell, I don't think the imperative of what you have to do to win here has changed one bit since they opened the joint in 1947.
Well, Mike, if you want, you got to clean your clock today. and the way you do that is you got to be willing to move them hands because this track, you got to be aggressive. You got to get them elbows up, and you're going to have to shove people out of your way. The bottom groove's about all we got, and that's the one that's all the passing's going to be done in.
Larry, it seems like even though this is NASCAR's smallest track, it's the track where the driver most has to concentrate on managing all of his resources.
Yeah, 2 drag strips with a U-turn at each end, 500 laps and 43 hungry hounds wanting to win that clock. You have to manage your brakes. You have to manage your tires. You're going to want tires well before you need fuel. Manage the front fenders. Manage the spotter. More importantly, manage your feelings and emotions, and I promise you, only about half of them will do a good job at that today.
Feelings are going to get hurt today?
Yes, they will.
Oh, boy. This is going to be fun. Let's have a look at the starting lineup for today's race. The NVIDIA Chevrolet of Jamie McMurray starts from the pole, his 8th career pole. Ryan Newman, who, as my son told you earlier, has been so hot here, is on the outside. Casey Kane, Joey Logano line up in row number 2. Denny Hamlin looking for his 4th straight win here with A.J. Allmendinger's best start of the year. Bobby Labonte, best start since 2008 with David Rudiman. Kevin Harvick, last week's winner. Regan Smith, great starting record he's had this year. Kyle Busch, 4th 4 times here. And Mark Martin, a 2-time winner. Brian Vickers and David Reagan, who was fastest in final practice. Clint Boyer and Paul Menard, who's had his best ever finishes at every track we've been to this year. Jimmy Johnson back in row number 9, a 6-time winner here with Martin Truex. And Marcus Ambrose in the 10th row with Kurt Busch, who has 7 short track wins. And there's the track's all-time active winner, Jeff Gordon, with 7. Have a look at the rest of the starting grid. Let's catch up with our pole sitter.
Jamie Mack, it's DW. Got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, man, that's clear.
All right. Hey, 19 times this race has been won from the pole. Can you make it 20?
Well, I thought we had the best car in happy hour. We qualified really well, so yeah, Goody'S Chevrolet has been one of those weekends. We've had a great weekend so far, so just have a mistake-free race. We should be there at the end.
Well, I see a little theme here for you. It could be an omen. The one car starts first. Put her in victory lane, everybody, and get you one of those big clocks.
That's it, I appreciate it.
This race is brought to you by Budweiser, the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, fast finish. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. Downstairs to pit road, beginning with Matt Yocum.
Mike, Ryan Newman second on the grid and in points. He told me today would be more like an old school type short track race where the top wheel man best displays his technique of conservation, patience, and survival. He says there's going to be one guy today, and he hopes it's him who knocks it out of the ballpark setup-wise. So he also told me, when you keep in mind that the guy who best backs it down is probably going to be the guy that goes to victory lane. To Dick Berger.
Joey Logano has had a tough start to his year. 23rd is his best finish. A tough start to the Martinsville weekend when he wrecked his primary car. But the backup car was fast enough to let him qualify 4th for today's race. That's the best he will ever start here at Martinsville so far. His best finish last year, right here. Steve Burns.
Well, thanks, Dick. You heard DW say that Jeff Gordon has won here 7 times. Check this out. He's finished in the top 5 in 11 of his last 12 races here. He's led nearly 3,000 laps, but he has never started this deep in the field. Today, he rolls off 21st and won a race. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson said they do have some scenarios to gain track position, but he's going to have to be patient and see how this race plays out, which should be an aggressive one, Chris Devoda.
Well, Steve, Martinsville, Virginia is a long way from Bogota, Colombia, yet Juan Pablo Montoya took to this track from the very first time he came here. He also starts deep in the field, though, so what to expect from this team? Well, they may go with a 2-tire change to gain some track position. Brian Patty says the only way that'll work is if you have a good car, a car that can hold on, and he thinks they do. Mike?
Thanks, Krista. On speed, the opening to the race day show this morning had a fella sitting at his desk working hard, working late, and he spills a box of paper clips. And he looks at one, and the paper clip becomes Martinsville Speedway. And then he's all full of energy. He's up on the chip. He's getting his stuff done.
You know, to add to what Chris Devoda talked about, I think it's up to a driver to be able to hang on to just changing 2 right side tires. That'll be the key.
500 laps around the shortest track on the circuit. Pit road speed, you'll feel like you're crawling when you stop under green, 30 miles per hour. Fuel window, Larry?
About 125 to 135 laps. You will want tires well before that.
There's a bit of that curbing. You can see the tire marks on it. The drivers sometimes will give a little hop over that.
They've softened those up a lot over the last few years. Used to be straight up and down. Now they got a little bit of a softness to them.
Martinsville opened in 1947, a dirt track, 750 seats. NASCAR came along in their first season 2 years later.
Well,
Red Byron won the opener.
They paved this joint, and there were still times when it felt like a dirt track. But you do slide around this place, I'll tell you.
Say that will exist today, probably.
I think it is, Larry.
There's an over-under online on how many references we'll have today to the famous Martinsville hot dogs. There's another one. There should also be an over-under on how many times we say or look at bump and run. Because this could be big. Jamie McMurray and Ryan Newman will bring them to the line as we get ready to race.
Here they come. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, you bunch of hot dogs!
2. For the 4th time in his Sprint Cup career, Jamie Mack is a leader at Martinsville. The fight is for 2nd.
And right now, Mike, if you're going to try to run the outside, you better do it early because we've seen a lot of debris, tire rubber building up in that 2nd groove, making it mighty hard to use.
Ryan Newman started outside pole and has not been able to find a place to get in line.
And that's a good example of how important it is to get to the bottom. There's just no 2nd groove here so far.
He had to shut the door on that 11 car, Denny Hamlin, that time to get to the bottom of the racetrack.
Well, I think Hamlin will be pretty nice to these guys early on, Larry, because he knows he's got a car that can win this race. You don't want to knock front end in on early on in the race.
Can't get much earlier from the start of the race. Watch Clint Boyer and David Reagan get after it there.
No, that's a good pass at Martinsville. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah, Clint Boyer said, I'm going to take advantage of this right now.
Gotcha. There'll be a lot of gotchas here today.
Jeff Gordon 19th, up 2 spots from where he started. Kind of funny that the car right behind him is Matt Kenseth. Those were the two that dueled on the last lap here in the spring last year, and both lost to Denny Hamlin. Now we're hearing from NASCAR that Kenseth will be penalized, and he'll get a 30-mile-an-hour pass through down pit road because he changed lanes on the start before reaching the start-finish line.
Yeah, he won't have to stop in his pit box, but Mike, you talked about 30 miles an hour on pit road crawling. Probably going to go a minimum of 2 laps down doing that on the green.
And just think back to the Daytona 500. His teammate, David Reagan, did the same thing on the last restart. Drove down in front of Trevor Bayne before he crossed the start-finish line. Probably cost him the Daytona 500. It's not a bad penalty right now early in the race. You can overcome it.
Let's have a look at it, Darrell, as they came off turn 4 for the green. Watch for that purple number 17 of Kenseth. There he is, pointers on him.
Right back there. And you saw him just come right over. And again, that's how important these guys felt like it was to get to the inside. He saw an opening. He felt like he had to take advantage of it.
Now the starter starts the race when the green flag waves, but you cannot change lanes before the start-finish line.
Plus, you see who he cut in front of? His teammate, the 99. I bet they had that made up. But they just did it too soon, just like David Reagan did at Daytona.
Now, what he did, he went about a lap and a half down. What Matt Kenseth would love to see is a caution quickly, because he would get that free pass. He's the only car a lap down right now.
Denny Hamlin, who's been so successful here. But how about Joey Logano? Great qualifying run for Logano. Started 4th, runs in 3rd.
Think back to where was it at the 17 car? Was it Vegas where he got a lap down? He couldn't. He kept trying to get it back, Same thing's going to happen to him today. Jamie Mack is going to be at the rear of the field here in about 10 laps. He will start lapping guys, and that's going to make it hard for Kenseth to get that lap back.
The car got stuck on the outside. We got a little beating and bang between Vickers in the 83, Kyle Busch in the 18. This is a battle for 10th right now.
You're going to have, that's short track contact. You're going to have that, but you don't want to have too much of it.
I'm not sure if you want to aggravate Kyle Busch this early in this race. Here's a look at it.
He got a little nudge getting in, and he gives him a nudge getting off. Yeah, that might be excessive.
You know, Darrell, what I've seen here early is everyone has realized the way I'm going to be able to make a pass is dive bomb. I'm getting in the corner and get that right front fender right to that left rear quarter pass.
Got to get under it, guy. Either got to get under him, getting in, or getting off, one or the other.
Look at the lead that McMurray has built up. Darrell, this isn't a tough track to drive when you're out there all by yourself, is it?
Oh, no, it's fun. I mean, it's real challenging. It's a, you know, it's a short straightaway, long straightaways with a lot of straightaway speed, but you stop in the middle of the corner. But you work hard, man. You work hard on this racetrack. Braking, steering. Jamie Mack's car it's perfect. You never want to turn to the right. A good race car, you're always cranking that wheel to the left.
What I see with him, he has built up almost a 2-second lead. If we stay green, probably in another about 5 laps, he'll catch the tail end of the field. That will pull Casey Kane, Logano Newman right back up there to him.
Missouri's Jamie McMurray won a couple of big races last year. He's out in front here from the pole. UPS, we love logistics. Here are the UPS logistics of the race. Dude, where's my crew? If you're pitted in one of the corners here, 3 or 4 or 1 and 2, as you're making that turn, you can't see your pit stall. So make sure you know where they are and when to turn in. Get in the right spot.
The inside tip. Best advice I can give you, stay on the inside. Don't give up the bottom. They will freight train you.
This is my best part. At the end of the day, you don't want your crew calling you Kirby. So you got to stay off of that curve. You got to run down there and buy it, but you don't want to get up on it. It knocks the front end out of line. It can tear up the splitter. Stay off the curb. Don't be Kirby.
All green flag racing for the first 26 laps here. Jamie McMurray, the leader. Casey Kane second. When we went to break, Joey Logano was third, but he got moved up out of the groove, and before he could find a spot in line, he was 12th. Had a chance to get in front of Allmendinger. No, excuse me, pardon me. Not now.
Well, Logano was really kind of holding a bunch of cars up when he did. That's how he got shoved to the outside. He just had to wait for the big opening behind the 33 of Boyer to get back in. Already got a lot of damage there to the left for a quarter panel. Watch that gas filler neck back there. That gas filler hole, you get that messed up, trouble.
They flirted with distorting that hole back there with that little lick.
They did. And you know how sensitive this new probe is, Larry. Get that thing distorted a little bit, could have trouble getting fuel in that car.
Kevin Harvick expected to be a factor here. Last week's winner. Right now riding pretty deep in the field. Matt?
Mike, he started 9th. He's dropped all the way to 25th and just trying to hold on. At one point, his water temperature was climbing, but the car, the biggest positive Friday is forward bite. Today, it's extremely loose on exit, just slipping and sliding. He's just trying to hold on, doesn't really know what to do.
Jamie McMurray has been caught. Casey Kane and Ryan Newman. Here goes Kane to the inside, and Newman gives him plenty of room. Or excuse me, McMurray gives him plenty of room. Newman takes advantage, and so does Hamlin.
Yeah, Kane brought 2 friends with him, kicks McMurray in the 1 all the way back to 4th. Casey Kane takes the lead of this race.
Dick, problem on the lawn?
Not really a problem, Mike, but the car has gotten looser as this run has gone along. He'd had good drive off earlier and then reported later that the car just plain got loose in the back.
And now Newman moves to the inside for the lead.
Newman's bad fast, but the guy right behind him, that 11 car, hello. Mr. Martinsville is in your rearview mirror there, Mr. Newman.
Look at tires.
You can see, it looks like Denny Hamlin a little bit quicker right through the middle of the corner. This right here is a battle back for about 19th or 20th. Casey Mears in the 13. We're riding with Dale Jr. in the 88 car.
They lap past J.J. Yaley, who is headed for the garage. And for the lead, here comes Hamlin.
That 11 car, oh my, that thing is on a rail. Looks like a rock on a rope right now.
You know, going back to what Matt Yoakum said and Dick Berggren, because of the schedule here, these guys really, they have not had any practice time since Friday. All they did yesterday was qualify. Track temperature much warmer today than it was on Friday. A lot different.
I think that's going to help tire wear too. I mean, I think the tires are going to slip and slide, but I think the wear is going to be better than we anticipate.
The 2 big winners here recently, Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson, who finds himself up from his 17th position. Steve?
17th to 6th in just 33 laps, Mike. Now, Jimmy's saying the car is really good off the corners. Good forward bite. He is still, though, a little snug in the middle of the corners, particularly when it gets back to the gas.
I'm not sure being a little snug is not a bad thing right now. That will keep from spinning those rear tires under acceleration.
Marcus Ambrose and Carl Edwards back there behind David Reagan and Jeff Gordon. Here's how Reagan moved up on Ambrose a couple laps ago.
Yeah, you know, right there where the 9 came down, that's not, I mean, you got to get down in there. You know, you got to cut your car down at some point. You can't just ride around on the outside here. You'll get shoved up in that really bad loose stuff. I think Marcos just was trying to get to as close to the 6 as he could. 6 drives in a little hard down low, you make contact.
And it ended up costing Ambrose 3 spots.
Oh, he hit the curb. Kirby, he just hit the curb, Kirby.
And that's normally what happens. It's not the guy that hits the curb that's the victim. It's the guy on the outside of him.
I like it.
So now Ambrose trying to hold off Edwards and Montoya. Carl Edwards has said on many an occasion, sarcastically, this is my favorite racetrack. He's run well here from time to time, but just doesn't have the finishes to show for it.
When you go to a racetrack where you've never led a lap, it's not going to be your favorite racetrack.
Carl came in here as the points leader in the Sprint Cup Series. He's led 108 laps this season, and as Darrell pointed out, has never led a lap here in competition.
When you think about those top 10s, 2 of those second place, including in the Daytona 500 behind Trevor Bayne.
Pat?
And Carl Edwards telling Bob Osborne that his race car, the front is just absolutely stuck. The problem is the back just starts a slow drifting slide. He just can't catch it. He has to wait up for it.
Thanks, Matt. 4th place race. Here comes Kyle. To the inside of Jamie Mack. Kyle Busch moves up to 4th. He started 11th.
But 05 time, we're riding him here with him. Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car. He is continuing to move up through the field. Remember, Jimmy has not won a race since September of last year at Dover.
Well, he and Hamlin has a 2.4 over the last 9 races, the races that he and Hamlin have won. Hamlin has a 2.4 average finish, and Jimmy Johnson has a 2.8 average finish in those last 9 races that those 2 guys have shared. That's amazing. 9 races.
That's true.
A 2-something.
4 different leaders. McMurray, Newman, Kane, and Hamlin, who is 1 car length in front of Ryan Newman after 45 green flag laps.
Can anything slow down Denny Hamlin? Find out only on NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buns.
Love that scoreboard. The 2 men up there would change those numbers by hand every 10 laps to update you on the positions. And that scoreboard was in place until they built the big grandstand that stands now at the entrance of turn number 3. Coming off pit road last time, let's watch the dance between Jimmy Johnson and Ryan Newman in the 39 coming out from his stall.
I don't touch. I almost do, but this is the fun part right here. You got me? Nope. I got you. I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
Well, you don't want to be caught speeding, as Brian Vickers was. Too fast exiting for Vickers. Here's how close they were at the line. Each driver watching his tack. And at the exit, Johnson is the leader, so he gets lane choice on the restart.
2 things happen to you here. The commitment line on the back straightaway. It's hard to define where you really can and can't be when you get ready to make a fake into the pit. The other part is the yellow line out over here off of turn 2 when you pit exit. It's outside. You're all the way out of the pits, almost out in the racetrack. See how far out it is?
There is that yellow commit line right there. And the last pit stall is right about there. Now, Robbie Gordon had a commitment line violation. Let's show you the commitment line. And there it is. You have to commit and have your wheel tires on that line if you are pitting. Gordon has his left sides on the line, car number 7. And then changes his mind.
And the reason he changed his mind, he wanted to stay out and lead a lap to get that 1 point for leading a lap. And Matt Yoakum, I think Carl Edwards, our points leader, may have an issue.
Multi-issues for Edwards. Larry Mack is 1 issue on the racetrack, no rear grip. They made some adjustments to fix that, but there's an even bigger concern with the 99.
This would be a great spot to lose power steering, huh? Yeah, you'll have a tough day of it, buddy, but that's why you lift all those weights. Yeah. All right.
Oh, boy.
It's not unusual for that to happen on a track where you get these big rubber build-up balls like we've seen. That'll fly up under your hood, knock that belt off. You see something laying right there in the track, it'll knock that power steering belt off. It's even been known to knock off the dry sump belts blow up the engine. So we used to put a screen around all that stuff when we had a track condition like we got here.
Safety car dives for pit road. We've completed 60 laps. Finishing up the first caution of the day when David Gilliland cut down a tire in turn 4. And here we go with Jimmy Johnson choosing the inside lane. And Ryan Newman on the outside, as he was at the initial start of the race. Newman packs it in there, but Johnson's got the preferred line. Who's going to win the drag race down the backstretch?
I'll take the guy on the inside every time, because even though Newman is trying that outside, I just don't know if that's the hot tip or not.
You can see right there just how slow he was in the middle of the corner, and he's not going to be able to get down. It doesn't look like in front of Kyle Busch, the 18, maybe behind him.
That's what happens when you get out there. We've seen the little bit of rubber that's flying off the cars, off the tires. You pick a little bit of that up on your tires, the car won't cut and it won't accelerate.
Hamlin trying Newman on the inside, and he's got clearance.
And Newman may go all the way back to last, because you get hung out there, you get freight train, just like Daytona.
Well, remember, on a restart, the only driver that has the choice inside or outside is the race leader. One of our UPS logistics, the inside is the hot ticket.
Well, here's what's going to happen. He's going to get frustrated. He's going to try to cut down in front of someone. There could be an issue with that.
First time this year, not counting Daytona, the super speedway, that a leader has chosen the inside on the restart, I believe.
I think you're right, Mike.
Oh, there is absolutely no question that the inside at this racetrack this week, with the conditions the way they are, is the hot tip. That's where you got to be.
Let's check in how your Pizza Hut fan favorite is doing right now based on your votes. Jeff Gordon in the 24. The all-time winningest active driver at Martinsville with 7 victories. He's in 11th place after starting 21st.
The most amazing thing to me about Jeff Gordon, I didn't realize this till I picked him for today's race, no DNFs.
Wow.
Out of 36 starts.
36 races here, no DNFs.
Man's led almost 3,000 laps at this half-mile racetrack. Jeff Gordon.
And what I like about him, see where he's riding right there? It's not a little gap between the guy in front of him, a little gap between the guy behind him. He never gets his car beat up here like a lot of guys do. He gets him in a little position where he can take care of that car, hang around, work on it, be there at the end.
Let's have a look at Greg Biffle in 15th. Krista, he's gained 18 positions since the start of this race.
Yeah, Mike, and I know it's early, but this is huge for Greg Biffle. He says when he comes to this place, it can be a fun track or it can be his least favorite track on the circuit. They have not cracked the code, as Greg Irwin told me, but right now he is happy with his car. They did not make any adjustments on that last stop.
A number of times Greg's been running pretty good here, and he'll have brake problems. And, you know, once something probably wrong with the brakes, but when it's a consistent problem, you may want to think about how much you're using them.
You know, one driver said this week that from start to finish of this 500-lap race, it's the hardest race you'll run all year long, mainly managing your car and managing yourself.
Well, it's like we saw early there when the 83 car was slamming into the side of the 18. I see that aggravates the 18. And what happens when you get aggravated here? Maybe the next time somebody else will run it, somebody that you haven't seen all day. Pretty soon you just say, I got to run into somebody because I'm getting tired of people pushing me around.
You know what's ironic about our top 3 right now? Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin. The last 15 short track races, that's the guys that's won all 15 of them. Now, Kyle Busch has never won at Martinsville, though.
There's your top 3. They've won 21 of the 25 races between them since we switched to the Car of Today platform. Behind them is Jamie Mack, the pole sitter, and here's David Rudiman in 5th place after starting 8th. Dick?
And David Ruderman has taken care of his tires. There has been so much concern here about tires, particularly the right rear. And the right rear that came off Ruderman's car still had some rubber on it. His crew chief, Rodney Childers, on the radio keeps telling Ruderman, take care of your tires, take care of that right rear. And the major adjustment they made to the car this morning was to preserve that tire. That will pay dividends as this race wears on.
Thanks, Dick. Here's the battle to be the first car one lap down. Kurt Busch in the 22 was in that position on the restart. Matt Kenseth just took it away. Should we have a caution, that will pretty much erase Kenseth's penalty. He'll get his lap back.
Yeah, having that penalty early certainly gives you a lot of time to work on getting it back, and he's doing a good job of putting himself in a position to get that lap back.
For the lead, Kyle Busch was leading yesterday's Camping World Truck Series race with 2 laps to go. Johnny Sauter got under his left rear corner, gave Kyle the bump and run, and the only rubber that the track took all day was from Sauter's celebratory burnout on the way to victory lane. Kyle was disappointed, but explained you'll see a lot of that here today.
Kyle's got a little bit better car, and he just makes a pass right there. I think Jimmy may have seen that he was a little quicker, gave him some room on the inside. Nice move.
New leader Kyle Busch, 6th different leader in the Goody'S Fast Relief 500 on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Warner Brothers Pictures Arthur in theaters April 8th. By the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by AT&T. Rethink possible.
Kyle Busch leads. Denny Hamlin trying to close on Jimmy Johnson. Busch gets a good launch off the corner. Johnson beats him back into the corner to keep the gap down to 2 car lengths. Clint Boyer's moved up to 6th in front of Casey Kane. Otherwise, the top 5 the way it was when we went to break.
Yeah, I mean, you got McMurray running 4th, and then David Ruderman in the 00 car has moved into 5th spot there and doing a nice job of closing down on these front 4.
So then Boyer 6th, Kane 7th, and Newman slotted in line in 8th after restarting 2nd. Sponsifier's back for 2011. This year, the winning designer gets a personal visit from their favorite driver. Go online for all new ways to create, customize, and share your designs. So Ryan Newman, 4 seconds off the lead in 8th after starting side by side up at the front row, but in what we've seen to be the wrong lane in the early running of this race.
Yeah, and Kane had a really bad pit stop. He lost a bunch of time on pit road, so those 2 guys are trying to overcome bad situations.
You know, looking at Ryan Newman in the 39, I think we certainly should give him some credit for this year. He has 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s. Came in here 2nd in the points, the best start he has had to a season since his rookie year back in 2002.
Tony Gibson calls him the old man. Of course, I know where he got that from. Tony worked with Mark Martin, and he called Mark Martin the old man. But Newman said, remember what Newman said about Tony Gibson when he was at home? Called his wife the old man.
He calls everybody old man.
Ex-USAC racer. He's got a great sense of humor, and he's got a terrific car collection too, Ryan Newman. So Newman quietly up to 2nd in the points, and Bobby Labonte trying to make some noise here at Martinsville. He's off in the quiet one, but he started 7th, had a good qualifying lap, and runs in the top 10.
And I think he runs this race a lot like what Darrell was talking about, Jeff Gordon. Takes care of that race car. He won here back in April of 2002. He's a guy that will be here at the end of the day as long as that race car will allow him to.
And I like his crew chief, Frankie Kerr. They seem to, Frankie's had good race cars. When Marcos Ambrose drove this car, there were times when they had as good a car as anybody on the racetrack. Put the experience of Bobby Labonte with a guy like that in a car like this, to get some pretty good results.
Steve?
Well, Mike Leary was talking about Jeff Gordon being patient. He just uttered these words. The car is getting better, but I got to tell you, these guys in front of us, they're going way too hard, too early.
Well, I think a lot of drivers that I've talked to, they are banking on a number of cautions. And I think that's one reason they're going hard early. They're not banking on the fact that we'll have long green runs.
Well, and the other thing, too, Larry, is these guys have said all week, these tires seem to fall off a lot. The grip seems to go away. So you've got to go hard when you've got good rubber on the car and then hang on to it until you can get 4 tires.
It's been much cooler and much windier the previous 2 days. All the practice was Friday. All these drivers did yesterday was run their 2 laps of qualifying. Well, let's get an update on tire wear through that first 50 laps of green flag racing. Dick?
Well, everybody has been watching the racetrack, Mike, to see if the track would rubber up, if the white concrete would turn black, because that would let the tires last a lot longer. So far, that hasn't happened, and so far we've seen significant tire wear here. It's a little inspection hole in the right rear, and in most of the tires I looked at, you couldn't see them.
Dick, fall off is an issue for everyone in my section, but wear hasn't been, except for Martin Truex Jr. His right front had about 1.5 inch band all the way down to the cords on the right front, and it was intermittent spots on the right rear. They've made some changes. It's the car much better now, not pushing.
Thanks, fellas. On 1/5 distance, it'll be 100 to 500 laps next time around. Kyle Busch leading Jimmy Johnson by half a second.
Six leaders, 5 lead changes. NASCAR on Fox Live from Martinsville. Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin. Those 3 have won the last 15 short track races as we have a caution flag out on the track right now. Dave Blaney with the problem, so let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Blaney got up way up in those marbles, ended up stopping at turn number 2, and apparently could not make it down to the pit road entrance in turn 3, so he draws the second caution flag of the day and goes a lap down. You'll see him in front of Jimmy Johnson here. Now Blaney had just gone a lap down, and up he goes.
Definitely right front tire. See it drop down and take off.
Pit road's open, Krista.
Kyle Busch telling his team, I think the track is starting to rubber up on that run. I start a little tight and I go loose, but I like it. I don't think we really need to do much at all. Steve?
Jimmy Johnson said the same thing, Chris. He said from the center off, the track is starting to rubber up. Short or quick chassis adjustment, rather, 4 tires, Matt.
The pit crew a tick slow on the previous stop. Mike Ford rooting them on. They're going to reverse a track bar adjustment they made on that first stop because the car has gone to the reverse side. Now it's loose, Dick.
Jamie McMurray has just arrived. He had been running in the 4th position. They're going to make a minor chassis adjustment on this car. And as you learned at the last pit stop, he's got the best pit stall in the place. He'll have nobody blocking him in as the 48 Johnson goes by, Kyle Busch and several others.
With that 48 team, I'm watching right here in front of us. They are killing it in the pits.
Even though they don't have a premium pit spot, they've got an opening behind them and in front of them because of lap down cars.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is delivered by Pizza Hut. Don't wait for the last lap. Order now to get your favorite pizzas at low prices.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. 111 of 500 laps complete. We're under caution for the second time. This one for Dave Blaney, who lost a right front tire at turn 1. Couldn't get down to the inside. Now, because Blaney had just been lapped by Kyle Busch when the caution came out, he would have been the free pass car, but there will be no free pass because Blaney brought up the caution.
See right here, that was the difference in Jimmy Johnson gaining that spot over Kyle Busch's crew. You see it right there. 2 seconds difference in the pit stop itself. Everything else pretty close as far as the driver time on pit road.
Here's today's Ford F-150 EcoBoost Track Facts. Martinsville is the only one of the original 8 tracks that hosted a Cup race in the inaugural season in 1949 still on the schedule. It's the shortest track on the Sprint Cup circuit. And from 1963 to 65, driving for factory team Holman and Moody, Fred Lorenzen won 4 straight races. Let's have a little listen to Dale Earnhardt Jr.
let's get fired up on the back here. We got all the talent in the world. Let's get it done.
He will restart 18th. Jimmy Johnson elects the inside against Kyle Busch. Now remember, last time the outside front row starter Ryan Newman, when the dust settled, ended up in line back about 9th.
See all this stuff out here? That's the problem with that outside lane. You get shoved up just a little wee bit, you get that on your tires, you're done.
Carl Edwards took 2 tires on that stop and moved up 11 positions from 20th to 9th. Kyle's going for the lead. Johnson doesn't want to let him have it.
It's hard to get a bite, get that thing to accelerate off the corner on that high line in the second groove.
Well, I've never seen anybody that can restart with Kyle Busch. He is unbelievable on restarts, but today there's just not enough room on that outside right now.
However, he finds a spot in line, perhaps because the next car on the inside was his teammate, Denny Hamlin.
Teammates working together. I like that, Larry.
Right now, Casey Kane in that Ford, he's the one that's trapped on the high side. Can't get down.
Back to 8th, and he'll drop in just in front of Carl Edwards as we give you a Martinsville hot dog loaded NASCAR on Fox style. Crank it up. Denny Hamlin moved up past Kyle Busch for second, and while that door was open, Clint Boyer stormed through it in the 33 to third. So Busch now 4th, David Rudiman 5th, then Newman and McMurray. After a bit of a gap, Carl Edwards leads a pack of a dozen or so. Well, he did until Montoya got underneath. As Edwards went up the hill, he'd been having power steering problems. Matt?
Definitely working on the intermittent power steering problem, Mike. They also made a call in the pits. Right side tires for track position. His only issue, he told Bob Osborne, the car was just a little too snug at the 2/3 mark in the corner. He wanted one adjustment. He said, I feel like at that point, we are going to be good to go.
This is a great test for Carl Edwards and for other drivers to find out just changing 2 right side tires, what it'll do.
It's a test of temper for Casey Kane because he got caught up on the outside barrel. He's got nowhere to get in, nowhere to hide. He keeps getting shuffled.
Don't have any buddies right now. Can you help me? But I was going to say about Carl's power steering that you run so low air pressure in the left side tires here. 8 pounds. 8, 9, 10 pounds. Sometimes that makes the power steering feel like it's trying to lock up, because that's like having a left front tire flat and you're trying to turn it, but it won't, because you have to wait for that air pressure to come up. That may be why they only took 2 tires.
Maybe. Here comes Hamlin once again. Takes Jimmy Johnson for the lead. Hamlin has led twice for 21 laps. Johnson twice for 38. Turn 1, Marcus Ambrose hard in the wall. Ambrose scoots away. That car a lot shorter in the back than it was a lap ago.
And Darrell talked earlier, there's no way they would be able to even get gas in that car right now.
Marcos has been stuck on the outside here. I think he gets a little frustrated and tries to come down in front of the 66 car there. And man, now
he was trying to stop it.
His brakes are working good.
Michael McDowell in that 66 just kept pushing. There was no more room for Ambrose to go.
McDowell said, I saw Kevin Harvick do that last week.
You know, Darrell, putting that rear spoiler up in the wind like that, who knows? Might help.
It'll be good until you run out of gas.
This is true.
No gas.
Yeah, the gas hole is closed on that one. Don't think we'll see much action on pit road. These guys, they've only been back racing about 11 laps. May see some at the back of the pack, but I don't think you'll see the leaders.
Pit road's open. One I'd look for might be Casey Kane, who restarted 8th but fell back to 20th, largely just from being shuffled on the outside.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with his car, Mike. He just got stuck on the outside and couldn't get down.
Kane is coming. So is Brad Keselowski, Brian Vickers, Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart, Joey Logano, and others at the back of the pack.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by the new 2011 Ford F-150, built for tough. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. And by Cobalt, the next generation of tough tools. 130 laps in, time for the headlines. This AT&T race break from the Hollywood Hotel trackside with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers. We've had over the first 100 laps, 6 leaders, 5 different lead changes. The big 3 have all led today, including Denny Hamlin. Remember last year in about the same spot, here's where he triggered his win of 8 races over the entire season. And engine problems for Joe Gibbs Racing so far, not an issue.
Yeah, a year ago we found out the mental toughness as far as Denny Hamlin's concerned, and this year we're finding out the toughness as far as Joe Gibbs Racing is concerned. Last weekend when they lost the engine, the owner, Joe Gibbs, went to TRD, which is basically the main headquarters for Toyota out in California, stayed there to help try to figure out the problem. We talked to Denny at the beginning of the race. He told us he thought they had it took care of him. Right now, Chris, he's looking pretty good as far as they're looking solid as far as handling. But that car is really running up off the corners.
Carl Edwards had some power steering problems in the top 10, certainly trying to work his way up. But what about the pit stops we just recently saw? What will that dictate?
I think it's going to dictate a lot of track position. Right now, track position is so key. As we take a look at Denny Hamlin, he really is in the catbird's position right now on the inside, getting ready to restart this thing.
Edwards up to 9th. Kevin Harvick is 22nd. Check in on the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew Award. Text the car number you think will average the least amount of time to 2345667. AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. And Mike, in each of the races last year in Martinsville, we had 24 different lead changes, one away from the record as we just watched Trevor Bayne. Back up to Mike.
Thanks, Chris. Ready for the restart. Trevor Bayne takes the home team car, the Wood Brothers car, from nearby Stewart, Virginia, into the garage area. As Denny Hamlin is the leader, Clint Boyer's in a great spot with that 33, second row inside. He'll take second place on the backstretch.
Chauncey got a great break there by being able to get down in front of double zero of David Ruderman.
Here comes Kyle.
He's trying that outside again. It's so tempting to get out there. You said those guys are stopping in front of me. I'll go right around them.
And Boyer wants the lead on the inside. He'll get it. First time one of Richard Childress's cars has led today.
Clint Boyer told me this morning when he looked at this place for the first time, he said, this will be pretty easy. He said, it kicked my butt in the beginning.
Krista?
That's exactly what he told me, Larry Mack. He said, when I came here, my head was so full of confidence. This track humbled me, but he said, I've gotten a lot better, and I needed to. I feel like I've come a long way.
First time Clint Boyer has led here. This is his 11th trip to Martinsville, and I understand, Darrell, you walk in here and this looks like all the short tracks you grew up on until you have to climb in one of these big heavy cars and make it go around here.
Yeah, you look at it and say, man, you're not even going that fast. I mean, what could be hard about going down a straightaway and turning through the corner and accelerating up off the corner? It just takes so much finesse.
Well, let's go back to the caution that just occurred. This number 66 team, Phil Parsons and Randy Humphries, sometimes they're not able to run the whole race. They will start and park to conserve their funds, but they came in here saying, Martinsville, we're here to race, we're here to go the distance. And here are Michael McDowell's comments after this altercation.
I'm not going to take it, man. This ain't my game. They're not messing with me. I got one race a year. I'm going to make it count.
I'm here to race. I'm here to go the distance. Don't mess me around.
I love that. The four most famous words in racing. Boys, have at it.
Yeah.
I'm going to outside.
Or don't mess with me.
McDowell in 27th. He is on the lead lap. By the way, the free pass car last time, Martin Truex Jr. back on the lead lap. And how about last week's winner, Kevin Harvick? in 22nd.
This is a group of cars, Harvick, Stewart, and the 14. They pitted on that last caution. What they'd love to see is a quick caution, then maybe all the drivers up near the front of the pack would pit. They could get that track position from making that off-sequence pit stop.
The Wood Brothers Ford is in the garage, Dick.
And it's got the hood up on that number 21 that Trevor Bayne was driving, Mike, and apparently they have punctured the radiator. A new radiator is here. The nose is pushed in a bit. Overheating on the Bayne car.
Break for our Daytona winner.
Yeah, and Jimmy Johnson just got by Denny Hamlin there just a second ago to move back into second place. Johnson's car looks like it's coming alive after a few laps.
Logging laps, 141 of them complete. Jimmy Johnson has led the most of them, 38. McMurray 31. Hamlin 31. Kyle Busch 30. Kyle had only led 4 laps in the last 6 races here entering today.
This is when you can really use up your stuff. Right now, when you got cars pretty much freight trained around this joint, you racing somebody trying to pass them, use a whole lot of brake trying to move forward here, and sometimes you're better off just to hold your position.
Kyle in 4th. He's about 1.8 seconds off the lead.
And you turn the wheel a lot here. I mean, you're going to see probably 30 degrees of crank on the wheel here, but you don't want it. I always emphasize this. You don't want to see that steering wheel go to the right. You want to crank her around to the left right there. Nice and steady. He's not fighting with the wheel. Smooth down the straightaway at 140 miles an hour into a sharp hairpin turn.
Darryl, what I do like that I'm seeing with Kyle Busch in this 18 car, as you mentioned, it's steady movement. It's not herky-jerky type movement on the steering wheel.
That's one of the characteristics that I think I've noticed in Jeff Gordon through the years is he's very smooth like that too. That's why he's always around at the finish.
Now the curious case of Carl. At lap 138, 7 laps ago, he ran his fastest lap of the race. 7 laps after that, after taking on just those 2 tires, he's backing up.
It was only a short-term gain. The long runs we're getting here, I think now he's paying the price for just having the fresh rides.
Well, it might be Bob Osborne's chance to mess with Carl, because with power steering problems and only 2 tires, Carl's going to have to do a lot of hard driving right now.
Here are your front row starters. Last year's Daytona 500 and Brickyard winner Jamie McMurray, who you're riding with, and Ryan Newman, who started outside pole and stands second in the Sprint Cup point standings entering Martinsville.
That's 2 drivers that did not make the chase in 2010. The way the new point system is structured, they would have made the chase because McMurray won 2 races in the first 26. Newman was the highest in the points of the drivers that only won 1 race. Both of them would have been in by the new system.
You hear that engine. That's sort of a rhythm you get into. That's a part of that thing we talk about, getting in a rhythm. Every time that engine gets to a certain peak, a certain sound, you know it's time to roll out the throttle and ease down in the corner.
There are 4 cars 1 lap down looking for a free pass. Paul Menard, Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch, and Marcus Ambrose. Clint Boyer, your leader.
Don't ask Clint if he's feeling lucky. He makes his own luck on NASCAR on Fox.
158 laps complete at Martinsville. Let's take an inside look at what's happening now in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. From Sprint and HTC Evo 4G, Denny Hamlin. Currently 4th. He has the fastest lap of the race. And the biggest mover is Jeff Burton from 32nd up to 11th. Fuel your inner NASCAR fan with live in-car audio and real-time stats on NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile and the new HTC Evo 4G from sprint.com/speed. Krista?
Mike, we've been talking about how difficult this track is, deceiving. Well, Jeff Burton, I love what he told me this weekend. He said there are a lot of people who hate Martinsville, but that's why I like it. This track is hard. We're the best. It's supposed to be hard, guys.
I don't think there's anything easy about this little half-mile racetrack in any regards.
is really running hard is Paul Menard. And he has to, because he is in the free pass position right now. A couple laps ago, watch Joey Logano, Brian Vickers, and Menard gets in there. A little bump. Instead of the bump and run, it became the bump, thump, rebump.
Logano was beaten on the back of the 83 of Vickers, and he was getting beat on by Logano. Now, this was a lap later. Joey Logano pays Paul Menard back. Not a lot left back there to pay back.
Always told me when your right side is all caved in, you've been racing hard. When your left side is all caved in, you've been in the way.
Back when these cars used to have chrome-plated steel bumpers, we called that using the chrome horn. Beep, beep, out of my way. Great start to the season for Paul Menard. He's had a career best finish at every track we've been to so far. And here's Jimmy Johnson eating into Clint Boyer's lead. It was almost a second, Steve, but Johnson is closing in.
Mike, interesting to listen to Jimmy Johnson. He's so precise. He just told the crew there's a certain patch I hit in the corners, actually in the middle, and it shoves the nose. His spotter, Earl Barber, said, you're right. Kyle Busch moves a half a lane to miss it. So very precise by Jimmy Johnson.
Thanks, Steve. Left of the screen, you saw Trevor Bayne back in the race for the Wood Brothers, but 35 laps down.
And I see it with Jimmy Johnson. He's moved up just a little wee bit, not riding the curve, more in the middle of the turn, which tells me that he's trying to straddle that dark spot that we see building up in this racetrack, which is rubber buildup.
That's just another role that the spotter plays, though. Earl Barbin was able to give Jimmy that information about a driver that's behind Jimmy Johnson to tell him what he was doing on the racetrack.
That's what, Larry, that's part of that managing your resources. But drivers sometimes feel like it's all on him. You know, I got to get the front. I got to do this. I got to do that. You got a pit crew. Use it. You got a spotter. Listen to him. You got a crew chief that can help you. Manage all your resources, and you'll have a good finish.
13th place battle. Dale Earnhardt Jr. passed Brad Keselowski and brings the 16 of Greg Biffle along.
This is the only track on the Sprint Cup Series schedule that Greg Biffle in that 16 does not have a top 5 finish. I think Chris DeVoto talked about him earlier.
I know it's straight off the corner.
That leaves Keselowski
Yeah, that looks real good, dude. That's a real good line there.
to deal with Bobby Labonte back at 15th place. 28 lead lap cars. Menard, the first car, 1 lap down, as now Jimmy Johnson gets a mirror full of Kyle Busch for second place. And David Rudiman, who had run in the top 5 most all day, is backsliding. Dick?
Well, several cars just got by Rudiman, Mike. His problem, the car has gone tight in the center. They need a pit stop and new tires on the double turbo.
I get a feeling that now these concrete corners, they're starting to take a little bit of that rubber. That's why these cars are starting to tighten up and not turn. Here you see Jeff Burton in the 31. That would mean that you're in the way because your left side's getting beat up.
That's right, and you can also see how far out that left front tire was turned, Larry, on Rudiman's car, saying that the car really is snug. It won't turn. Had a lot of angle on that left front tire sticking out.
Long way to go, just nice and smooth.
Second place to Kyle Busch. Jimmy Johnson had dropped a full second behind Clint Boyer to where Busch was able to take advantage. 1 lapped car between Kyle and the leader. Boy, does he get a drive off the corner.
And it seems like that 18 car has really got a good long run package, because this car has been clipping away here. He got by Jimmy Johnson, and now he's closing down on Clint Boyer up there in the 33. Good car. Good long run car. Oh, got a car up the hill, I saw.
And it is the 36 of Dave Blaney once again.
It's going to be hard to limp all the way around to the pits from there.
Well, he's got a right front tire down. Go back to what Jeff Hammond did in the pre-race. Caution is out. I would say these guys are cooking the bead of that right front tire from brake heat. Probably what happened. That was about a 50-lap run right there since the last caution.
And because Blaney stopped on track to draw the caution, he has drawn the ire of NASCAR officials that will result in a 2-lap penalty, essentially costing Blaney what he would have lost if he'd come around and come to pit road under green.
And that's customary. That's what they do, and particularly I've seen it more here and more on short tracks, because you could keep going and maybe not bring out a caution.
But here, Darrell, it might have been the smart call on Blaney's part rather than to risk trying to go around and get beat and banged up and maybe cause a bigger wreck trying to get to pit road. Who knows? Jeff Hammond.
And Mike, we've been trying to keep up on this bead situation, and that 36 along with the 34 report from Goodyear, they have been melting the beads on these two race cars, and they've been cautioning a lot of the other teams, take care of your brakes, otherwise you're going to have the same kind of problem.
It's very rarely we see a driver that's at the front of the pack with a good handling race car cook the beat of a tire. It's normally someone that's back there struggling.
If your car handles good, you don't use near as much brake, and you won't have this kind of an issue.
We'll show you Blaney getting the flat here, and of course the splitter ends up being the track scraper. And that's some of that rubber debris.
And that's the issue, Mike. When you get out there, that stuff that you see flying up in the air right there, it'll stick to your hot tires, and you'll think you got a flat sometime. It gets so bad.
Oh. Pits are open. Krista.
Well, Clint Boyer is extremely cognizant of where Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Busch are behind him, which line, which groove they're in. As he comes in, Nick Terry goes around to jack the car. He says, boys, it's good. It's really good. No changes. Steve?
Small chassis adjustment for Jimmy Johnson. Krista, he says the chatter has gone away, but the front is still a little snug from the center off, Matt.
Steve, Denny Hamlin fourth as the racetrack is starting to rubber up, which is changing the handling of his car, making it tight in the center and extra free on exit. Combo adjustments to fix his combo problem, Dick.
Jamie McMurray started on the pole, has been running in the top 5 all day. Only minor adjustments to this car on each of the pit stops. This time, park a little bit further away from the wall to give Jack Van Tracy Duncan a little bit more room. Crew is happy with that pit stop.
Yeah, and he got a good launch, Dick. He came out fourth. Jimmy Johnson, the big winner on that one. And let's show you Kyle Busch's pit exit. You may have seen it on the split screen. Clint Boyer coming along, and he fires out from the pits and squeezes past Boyer, then hits the brakes before he gets to the next timing line, so he won't be caught speeding.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
H. Clay Earls, founder of Martinsville Speedway, and its longtime head with, Jimmy Spencer there. On the restart, Jimmy Johnson holds Kyle Busch at bay. Clint Boyer is right there. McMurray and Newman, who had an interesting pit stop, along with Denny Hamlin.
Boyer's got a fast car. He is accelerating up out of the corner better than anybody I've seen. Got messed up a little bit on that restart there, but he's got a fast car.
And a look and a bump to Kyle Busch. Here comes Boyer for second. That wasn't pretty.
That isn't going to go over too well
No,
with the
it
young
will
man
not.
in the 18 car.
No, it will not.
And that's the Martinsville bump and run right there.
Still there.
That's a red. There's a red flare just went up out of that 18 car.
He's trying to get back to the rear bumper of that 33, but Clint Boyer gets off the corner so good.
He's bad fast up off the corner now. He's putting the power down.
Marcus Ambrose had a long pit stop, lost, I believe, 2 laps with extra work on the left rear. Of course, remember from the big bash that he had into the wall, courtesy Michael McDowell, they had trouble fueling that car. Mark Martin will receive a pass-through penalty for changing lanes before the start-finish line on that restart.
And the reason these drivers are doing that, just like Matt Kenseth at the start of the race, they know how important it is to get to the bottom of the racetrack before you get to the corner.
And if the guy in front of you doesn't go, and you don't have much of an option, you either got to go around him or run into him, and that really puts the driver in a bad spot.
Mark making his 800th career start today, only the 8th driver in NASCAR history to reach that level. Richard Petty with 1,185 career starts. Explaining to Mark that he changed lanes before the start-finish line. Plenty of time to make it up. We're only 187 laps in. But look at how slow he is at 30-mile-an-hour pit road speed as the field trains by.
Matt Kenseth at the start of the race lost about a lap and a half because of the pass through that he had to make. Looks about what Mark Martin in the 5 is going to lose here.
And Kenseth is still a lap and a half down. By the way, Paul Menard being up on the wheel during that last green flag run paid off. Menard got the free pass on this last caution, so he is back on the lead lap, one of 28 cars there. Stewart almost lost it up in turn number 4. Gosh, Darrell, he got way up in the high stuff and got everything but the fence.
Yeah, he's got a problem, and certainly he has buildup on his tires right here. Take a lap to get that knocked off, but Smoke not having a very good day.
You can see the rubber clumps just flying back off the tires because when he got up there, those hot tires just pick all that rubber up.
They're like magnets.
And then after about a lap or two, those tires clean themselves of that debris, and you can get back up to speed. Now, we talked about Ryan Newman having an interesting pit stop so that one crewman can make adjustments. The carrier up on the right front has to wrestle 2 tires. But Casey Kane comes along and sideswipes one of them, sending it off into the next pit. Or excuse me, sending it into Casey Kane's pit.
Yeah, he's trying to dribble 2 tires at once.
So someone else can make an adjustment on the right rear.
Hard to dribble 2 tires at once.
Now, because the tire getting away was the fault of the car passing along the pit lane, Newman was not penalized.
But this is something that teams are still wrestling with since the rule change for 2011 that eliminated that catch can man. Last year, that catch can man would have been making those adjustments.
And that's the other thing with some of these restarts and problems that we're having on the restarts. That's a fairly new rule that the guys just haven't really, you don't understand. Back in the day when the green flag came out, you could pass to the right. You know, if you could get by a guy up on the right side, you could go on. You can't do that anymore.
Look who's appeared up in the top 10. Big Daddy, I believe, has made it there. Jeff Gordon in the 24.
Your Pizza Hut fan favorite for the day, Jeff Gordon, up to 6, Steve.
Mike, he's been saying one thing consistently since the drop of the green flag. He said this car is cutting very well. On that last pit stop, he said, I don't want to change much. He said, we're not rolling as good as others, but man, this car cuts. Just a little tight in turns 1 and 2.
Thanks, Steve. What happened to Kyle Busch? That car just jumped out of the lane, and he loses position.
I know exactly what happened to him. It was our pole sitter, Jamie McMurray, in that one car.
Oh. And Kyle's going to go back. David Reagan wants to stay tight to the rear bumper of Jeff Gordon and not let Kyle in. Can't do it.
Right.
Now here's what happened to move Kyle Busch. Watch the 1 of McMurray.
Caught him right in that left rear, sends him up the racetrack. There goes Denny Hamlin in the 11, Jeff Gordon in the 24.
That's when that spotter says, he's looking, he's there. He's looking, he's there. Just a teeny bit late.
So Kyle Busch slots in line in 6th behind Jeff Gordon. Jimmy Johnson out front by almost 2 seconds over Clint Boyer. And oh, here comes the 11 under the 1. McMurray's got to give way this time, and he gives Hamlin plenty of room. So 3rd place changes hands behind Clint Boyer. Let's check with Krista.
Mike, we just saw where Kyle Busch got shuffled back. What was interesting is just seconds before that, Clint Boyer told his spotter, Kevin Hamlin, I'm holding him up. Should I let it by? Kevin said, I can't talk to his spotter right now. Clint says, I don't need you to talk to his spotter. I need you to talk to me. Clint was going to give him that position right before Kyle got loose.
I'm just not sure anybody's going to give anybody anything here today, what I'm saying.
It's a really good story, though. I was going to give it to him.
Sorry.
Under caution at Martinsville, Clint Boyer leads everybody off pit road. As you see, the first 3 took 2 tires, including Dale Jr. and Montoya. Hermie Sadler coming off the corner, bounced off the wall on the back straightaway, cut down a tire, and that's what's put us under the 4th caution flag of the day. Watch that blue and green, number 71. That's Sadler from Emporia, Virginia. A little too high on exit, and the right front suffers.
I think it may have been a right front problem of just tire maybe was down the way it looked.
So let's check up on what they did on pit stops, beginning with Steve.
Well, Mike, Jimmy Johnson said, I definitely don't have anything to complain about. This thing is really turning well, but they did have a little trouble on pit road. They were slow getting off pit road, trouble on the left rear. Jimmy Johnson came on the radio and said, I need you guys. Come on, be consistent. Chad Kidall said, shake it off, boys. Let's go. Krista?
Steve, the decision to take 2 tires for Clint Boyer was a last-minute decision, and to clear up what he meant by letting Kyle go, he just didn't want to get out of the groove. He said, I'd rather let 1 car go by than get shuffled back and lose 4 positions. Matt?
Krista, you can continue to hear the confidence in Denny Hamlin's voice, making big progress. They continued with the same adjustment. Track bars last time. The car's still tight, but it's getting much better, Dick Bergeron.
A minor adjustment for Jamie McMurray's car, executed by rear carrier Adam Mosier. The car has been very, very good all day. Another tiny adjustment on a good pit stop.
Thanks, Dick. We're at 40% race distance, just past the 200 lap mark. Clint Boyer, the leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in second. Remember, Junior's new crew chief Steve Letarte got the first of his 10 Sprint Cup wins right here with Jeff Gordon on his 6th ever race as a Cup crew chief. Let's take an inside look at what's happening now in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Brought to you by Sprint and HTC Evo 4G. Denny Hamlin still has the fastest lap of the race, set at lap 123, 20.09 seconds. And the most laps led, that's Jimmy Johnson, 64, just ahead of this caution. Fuel your inner NASCAR fan with live in-car audio and real-time stats on NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile and the new HTC Evo 4G at sprint.com/speed. 3 cars took the wave around: Mark Martin, Kenny Schrader, and the 37 of Tony Raines.
Yeah, it's a gamble, but it's only they got to get back on the lead lap, so got to try something.
Yeah, Mark got that lap down by that penalty for changing lanes on that last restart. Only 23 laps on his tires. I think it's a great move.
Boy, Montoya stuck it in there. Junior did not get such a great restart. It's going to be Boyer, Montoya, and Kyle Busch versus Earnhardt into 3.
Now, Montoya started this race in 27th. Remember, Chris Devoda told us before the green flag, his crew chief, Brian Patty, had on his green trying just 2 right side tires in the race. They tried it right there with only 23 laps on their tires.
Darrell, Jeff Gordon, the track's all-time winner, has fought his way up to the top 5, where he's side-by-side with Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, he's just methodically been doing it. I've been watching him, and he's good in the pits. Car's been good on the racetrack. Jeff's doing an outstanding job of driving today.
And here comes Newman inside of Denny Hamlin, who is the man caught to the outside, surrendering 6th place now.
Ooh. Boy, Hamlin cut down in front of McMurray. That was almost disastrous.
Well, what had happened, it slowed up McMurray, and I thought David Reagan in the 6 was going to get in the back of McMurray in the 1 car.
He cut Hamlin a break there, I got to tell you.
Still just 3 cars out of this race, and they were all 3 gone within the first 40 laps. J.J. Yaley, Mike Skinner, and Joe Nemechek all behind the wall. A couple of cars more than 10 laps down, Gilliland and Bain on the lead lap now. 30 cars with those 3 wave arounds.
And when you see a car coming down, close it down on you, looking to the inside, you've got to make a quick decision. Do I cut him off or do I let him go? Normally you would probably give him a little bit of room, but with the track being so dirty up out of the groove, you almost got to cut him off and take a chance.
Back at 16th, here comes Vickers, that silver car you'll see on the outside, trying to make it work. We haven't seen many passes to the outside today, and Regan Smith holds him off. Here comes Biffle on the bottom.
Greg Biffle in that 16 car started back in the 33rd spot. He just keeps fighting and clawing his way, trying to get up near the front.
Kevin Harvick, you're riding with him. He's been right around 20th to 25th most all day. Now he's up to 18th. You saw Biffle bounce off the corner. Here comes Harvick.
Yeah, Harvick's he's had trouble with the car not handling good for him, but they keep working on it. He's inching back toward the front.
But Greg Biffle definitely got all up on that curb, and that kicked him all the way up to the 2nd groove, and now they're freight training him.
Keselowski right behind Harvick. Then comes Logano, and at 2nd, 3rd, 4th, Montoya, Busch, and Gordon.
We talk about it every week. Juan Pablo Montoya in that 42 car up there, as Jeff Gordon's going to just drive underneath Kyle Busch to take third away. Montoya has the 2 road course wins. The man's won at Monaco in Formula One, the Indy 500. He wants to win so bad on an oval in NASCAR.
Wouldn't it be ironic if he won on the smallest one we go to?
After having no short track experience before he came to the Sprint Cup Series.
He's the guy that said, though, he would explain Martinsville. He said, what I figured out about this place, you have to go in like a gentleman, into the corner like a gentleman, but you got to come off like a lion.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit what I think he's used to doing on road courses.
You know, a lot of these drivers have private jets. Montoya's, though, one of his is 5 feet long with a 4-foot wingspan, and he flies it. Radio control.
Loves doing that.
He doesn't love this. Here comes Jeff Gordon, Martinsville's all-time active winningest driver. Moves himself up to second place. In the wall hard goes Casey Kane.
Hold the brake, buddy.
And Martin Truex.
Hold the brake.
Wow, that was huge. Look at that car. And you think we're not going fast here?
Martin's all right. Unhooks his cool tube.
Look at that thing.
What a hit. And Casey Kane is moving around in his car.
Martin went over to check on him.
Darrell, that might be the hardest hit I've ever seen at this small a racetrack.
I tell you, that was amazing. Look at that race car. It is demolished.
You think they're not going fast here? Watch this.
Darrell, I get a feeling something happened to Martin Truex Jr. in that 56 as hard as he was driving it off in that corner.
Sure does.
I mean, he wasn't even able to slow it down, it didn't look like.
I bet well, it's hard to say about brakes, but that looks like a car that lost its brakes.
Let's jump in and out the Toyota.
Yeah, he never even slowed down.
We're in it, guys. We're in it. Hold the brake, buddy. Hold the brake. Hold the brake right there. Hold the brake.
Boy, look at him. It's knocked a breath.
Martin Truex was on the lead lap at the time. And you see he is okay. But that was a vicious crash.
I just every day these guys get up, they ought to praise the Lord for those safer walls, those soft walls, safer barriers, because
now he has dropped a lot of fluid on the racetrack, radiator, oil cooler, everything into the wall. So NASCAR is going to bring this to a halt while they clean up. From Casey Kane and Martin Truex.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it. By AT&T, rethink possible. And by American Ethanol, American grown, American made, powering NASCAR. 222 laps in, and it was a throttle problem for Martin Truex Jr., who had been running in all 10 of his previous Martinsville races. Apparently is okay. Walking away, heading to the care center as we're looking in at the American Ethanol in-car camera with Jeff Gordon. Time for our AT&T race break. And the headlines so far, Clint Boyer leading Jeff Gordon and Juan Pablo Montoya. 278 laps to go. It's NASCAR on Fox and from the Hollywood Hotel live here in Martinsville, Virginia. Just a quick recap of how things have gone. The big three, we've had 7 leaders and 13 lead changes, but Denny Hamlin, who came in winning the last 3 of these races, has led 33 laps. Jimmy Johnson's led the most, 65 laps, hustling off pit road. But moments ago, Jeff Hammond.
Yeah, it looks like the throttle hung on this 56 car Martin Truex Jr. And unfortunately, he takes Casey Kane out. But probably fortunately, the 4 car was there to kind of slow this car down and lessen the blow a little bit. You see Martin getting out of the car and running over to Casey Kane to make sure he's okay.
For Martin Truex Jr., he appeared to be all right. Spectacular pictures, amazing that both drivers are in good health.
Yes, Chris. I mean, I just walked outside to check on some things at our pit box, and I was on top of the pit box when these two guys crashed right down in front of me, and I'm telling you, it sounded like a huge explosion when the two of them got together and it hit the outside safer barrier.
On the Fox Expo camera, you watch it that slow, you wonder what's going through a driver's mind as he's going through that as they are working on the safer barrier here at Martinsville.
Yeah, you can see the damage right there. They're having to replace some of the plating right there that looks like has been penetrated. In behind that is where the blocks go that allows the wall itself to give, with hard impacts like this. So they'll replace those blocks, make the repair to the wall. We'll be ready to get back to racing here in just a few minutes.
So we're under the red flag. Meanwhile, Clint Boyer, for the first time in his career, leading a race in Martinsville, and he's done a pretty good job in terms of holding on. By the way, the last Richard Childress car to win here, Dale Earnhardt in 1995. Of course, Kevin Harvick coming off the big win last week.
Yeah, big win for those guys last week. But it'd be I think even bigger for these guys because really Welcome, North Carolina is right down the road from Martinsville. It has been a long time since an RCR car has won here. Obviously, Jeff Burton has run well here, as well as Kevin Harvick. But for Clint Boyer, I mean, he's really starting to show some muscle. The guys in the booth have been watching him. That car is really rolling through the center and making a lot of ground up on the exit, a lot of drive off the corner.
And as we welcome back Larry, Darrell, and Mike, Jeff, your thoughts, handing it off to them on the pace of this race so far and the fact that Boyer's hanging in there with guys like Jeff Gordon, who's had success. Kyle Busch, all his short track wins, yet none of them have come here.
Well, guys, the one thing I've been noticing, and Larry, I'm pretty sure you have too, is that as the races progress, we've talked about the track taking rubber, we're seeing faster and faster lap times the deeper we go in the race.
Well, and what we're also seeing is guys getting a little bit more of a gambling mode to them. When you look at a while ago on that, after 23 laps, guys like Montoya, Dale Earnhardt Jr. taking on just two right side tires, trying to get that ever important track position.
Right, because at the start of the race, we didn't think anybody would make a two-tire stop. But Darrell, how about the aggression level in this race? We've seen it up and down, but generally, I think people look pretty well behaved.
Yeah, so far, but there's still a lot of sand in the hourglass. So as it trickles down, the tempers will flare up as we get down the end of this race. But I've been surprised how good the tires are holding up because we thought that might be an issue. So far, I don't think it has been.
All right, Dick Berggren.
With Casey Kane, who has just emerged from the care center. You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. It was our biggest problem is we got behind at the start with the tire. It started laying rubber, and then we were fighting the car, and we got too far back, and that was once I got hit, usually you get hit here and you spin out if somebody's mad, but that was where I knew that the throttle or something had stuck on Martin's car because he drove me through the wall and then, he followed. So it was a pretty good wreck. It's just a bad day. I thought we were going to at least try to salvage something.
Most important is you're okay. Thank you. Chris?
Thanks, Dick. And a couple of top tens before this year for Casey Kane, so turning things around this year. Unfortunate today for him and Martin Truex Jr. And Martin had led some races a little bit earlier. Currently, Jeff, the top 5 drivers as we stand, they all started outside the top 10. It's Boyer, Gordon, Montoya, Kyle Busch, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr., who started 26th.
Yeah, I think for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Letarte, they've been basically being very patient, decided to do the two-tire, change this last time in, got some great track position. But for, the rest of that group right there, especially Jeff Gordon, I think that they're starting to show their muscle right now. And, I'm not really surprised about that. Dick Berggren, I think, is caught up with Martin Truex.
Yeah, indeed. We are so glad to see you walk out of that care center. You all right?
Oh, I'm fine, yeah.
Stuck throttle?
Yeah.
What was it like inside that car? What was it like when you saw that wall coming and you knew you were going to hit a ton?
It was, oh, man, this is going to hurt.
But it didn't.
No, didn't hurt at all. Unbelievable, isn't it?
It is. It is indeed. But we're real glad to see you're okay.
Yeah, just, again, thanks to NASCAR and everybody that all the guys that built safer barriers in these race cars and everything, they're unbelievable. Just 10 years ago, I wouldn't be standing here. So thankful for that, and thankful for everybody working on Napa Toyota. Just it's a rough day right there, but we started off pretty bad, and we were working on it and getting better, and we're just trying to survive. And we sure didn't need that, but it is what it is. We'll go on to next week and fight hard.
Is there anything at all you can do when you feel that engine running wide open and you don't want it to be doing that?
No, unfortunately, there's not. I mean, you lock the brakes out, but there's nothing to do. As bad as unfortunate as it was that Casey was involved, he really helped slow my car down when I hit him. So it was probably a blessing, but hate that we took him out.
Glad you're okay. Chris Myers?
Thanks, Dick. And of course, he ran over to make sure Casey was okay, and probably glad Casey's car was in the way, or who knows. His
really
answers at first were very short, and it's almost as if, Jeff, he's still kind of catching his breath saying, man, I can't believe I walked away from that.
Again, you have to experience something like that, and unfortunately, you know, neither one of us have had to do that, but for these drivers, even we know you talk about this being the smallest racetrack on the circuit, you carry so much speed. I mean, that's over 100 miles an hour down in these corners, and he's got all 4 tires locked up. He's trying to hit kill switches. He's trying to do everything he can to get that car stopped, and you see the end result. So, I mean, helpless is the only thing you can say for Martin Truex Jr. He was helpless.
Truex Jr., Casey Kane done for the day here on the short track, but next week on Saturday night, first night race at the Texas Motor Speedway, you can bet the speeds will pick up.
The plot thickens on NASCAR on Fox.
You put your work clothes on when you go to Texas. Well, that's big boy racing down there.
Sprint Cup racing from Texas Motor Speedway.
Looks like he messed with the bull and he got the horns.
He's trying to hang on like a wild bucking bronco in Texas.
Stay tuned to NASCAR on Fox.
Hope you join us Saturday night. Remember Saturday baseball on Fox during the day. Denny Hamlin has swept Texas last year. He's hoping to pull it out here, currently 7th under the red flag after the wreck. And worth taking another look, especially when you can hear from the drivers and have them talk about what happened and how they walk away.
I mean, so much fire out there. You see the impact of what's going on there.
The immediate flames?
The immediate flames is probably broke something in the carburetor. I mean, he's got the thing running wide open, but he probably broke the fuel log off and is now sprayed, you know, the Sunoco E15 fuel all over this race car with the hot headers, and that's what, you know, caught fire.
And on our Exmo again, you heard Martin Truex Jr. saying, you know, he was sorry that he wrecked Casey Kane in the 4 car, but he's glad. He said it helped slow him down, or who knows, with the throttle problem that he had, what would have happened next.
Well, let's hopefully, you know, the good thing about it, we don't have to discuss that. These 2 guys, both of them been able to walk away. Unfortunately, the cars are definitely destroyed, but, you know, the cars can be rebuilt.
And Martin Truex Jr., a driver who had been in and out of the top 10 in points, had stumbled back the last few races. And for Casey Kane, we mentioned some of the top 10 finishes this year, and was the pick of Larry McReynolds in our Pizza Hut prediction selection earlier on the pre-race show. Let's take a look at the current standings for the fastest pit crew and how the fans have voted so far. And thanks for getting involved with AT&T. You can get in on the action by texting the car number you think will average the least amount of time on pit road. AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. Clint Boyer, your leader over Jeff Gordon, 222 laps in under a red flag after the wreck. But a lot more to come. It's NASCAR on Fox from Martinsville, Virginia.
Since 1947, Martinsville Speedway has been one of the greatest places anywhere in the country to see a race. You saw where the azaleas and the boxwoods used to sit outside of turns 1 and 2. The little hand-operated scoreboard up outside of turn number 3, where right now we sit under the red flag, closing in on halfway to go because of a vicious crash caused by a stuck throttle on Martin Truex's car that also took out Casey Kane. Both drivers are okay, but everyone else sits and waits under this red flag as they repair the barrier in turn 3.
Let me see if I can raise up my buddy over here, Clint Boyer. Hey, Clint Boyer, it's DW. I'm not interrupting anything, am I?
No, just people watching right now.
Hey, buddy, you've been looking good today, man. You got that thing hooked up. How's it going out there for you?
So far, so good. Just really proud of everybody on the BB&T Chevrolet. Worked hard. You know, we've all worked hard on getting better at this racetrack. Certainly come a long ways, and you know, we got to repay BB&T. We had a bad run for them at Bristol, and feels good to be up front for them.
Clint, I know you like to race on dirt. That's actually where Richard Childress discovered you. Does this racetrack have any kind of characteristics like that?
Man, you're spot on. I mean, it's a dry, slick, old dirt track. You know, just forward bite is such an issue with this tire. The marbles up top, you jump the cushion, get over into the marbles, you know, you really got your hands full. The outside lane, You know, patience is going a long ways here today. We're just trying to buy our time and manage our tires.
So your car looks pretty clean. I don't think anybody's been beating around on you much, doesn't look like.
I've been lucky enough to be out front. They're supposed to be this way. I brought home a lot of tore up stuff this year, so hopefully we can keep it this way.
All right, well, I'm going to finish my hot dog. You finish your nap, and we'll get going here in a minute.
In 4, I see they tried to knock the wall down, so hopefully we can get going here and have some more fun.
10-4, buddy. Thank you.
Well, the track sweep up and cleanup is complete up in turn number 3. However, the safer barrier got quite a bit of damage there when Martin Truex went into it full tilt, so they're still doing a little bit of welding work there. Now the concession stands do a booming business here. Where else in racing can you get a hot dog for $2 loaded with slaw and chili, and it's that good? So good that at the infield concession stand, the crews put slash marks up on the header of the roof there to mark who's eaten the most. They have real contests here for who can down the most Martinsville hot dogs.
You know, back to Clint Boyer, Darrell mentioned the fact that he's a dirt racer from Kansas. That's where he got his start. But how he got noticed by Richard Childress, he got an opportunity to go to Nashville Super Speedway and run an ARCA race. Sat there and ran in the top 2 or 3. Richard happened to be over there for an NNS race that weekend. Really, Clint caught the eye of Richard. A couple of weeks later, Richard told his secretary, Sandra, see if you can get me Clint Boyer on the phone. I'd like to talk to him. Clint thought it was someone pulling a joke on him and almost would not take the phone call. He said, you guys quit messing with me. I've got work to do. But it truly was Richard Childress trying to talk to him about coming over and driving at Richard Childress Racing.
You know, before racing full-time, Clint Boyer worked in a body shop. He was a body man. So his hobby, as there's Richard Childress, Boyer's hobby is restoring old cars, and he builds what we call rat rods, which are high-tech cars that look like they've been sitting in the chicken coop for the last 30 years. You got to work hard to make one look like that and run as well as his do.
And he's got a car, and I believe he told me he got it from Jan Gabriel. Remember we were talking about him?
Yeah.
It's a 50 Mercury, and it's all tricked out, and it's got flames. It's got flamethrowers that come out the tailpipes.
Wow.
And he rides around in that every once in a while and cooks some radiators, I guess, every once in a while.
Jan Gabriel, the great public address announcer read commercials with that, created that Sunday. I can't do it, but gosh, he did it better than anybody. Let's listen to what some of our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series drivers have to say about racing the shortest, one of the toughest tracks on this circuit.
How can I stay as calm as possible with a lot of the things that go on that you can't control, some that you can control, but you still can't get frustrated, or things get a lot worse a lot quicker than that.
Martinsville has been a big challenge, to say the least, for me. We've had some really good runs. I think third's the best I've finished here, but man, it's been a tough place at times too.
The only time I get frustrated is when I get a run on somebody and they keep chopping my nose off getting into the corner, which then it's time to give them the chrome horn.
Ryan Newman there, who started outside pole, currently runs in 6th. Jimmy Johnson, after that pit stop, now is 9th in the running order. Clint Boyer, your leader. Jeff Gordon, Juan Montoya. And the driver who yesterday in the truck race led 64 laps, got bumped out of the lead with a lap and a half to go yesterday, finished 2nd, and that's Rowdy Bush.
Hey, Kyle Busch, it's DW. Got a copy there, buddy?
Yeah, man, what's going on right here?
Yeah, it looks like you are. You've been getting pushed around a little bit, but you've been handling it well. How's the temperature in the car today?
It's not bad. You're right. We've been getting beat up a little bit on the left rear quarter panel there, but it's just a matter of getting run over, I guess. We're in line behind somebody, kind of going slow. I can't quite get it turned to get underneath somebody in front of me, so that's where my problem is. It's not me that's holding up the line, it's everybody in front of it's the guy in front of me, so I just kind of get rooted out of the way, and you'll have that, I guess. But it's Martinsville, so the Pedigree Camry's fine. It's fast when we can get by ourselves. If we can get out front, run our own line, it's just having a little problem trying to get through traffic.
Yeah, I've seen you move up and try that outside a couple of times. It just doesn't seem to work at all. Is there any grip out there that you can use?
Not really. I mean, when you get into a run, you kind of move up a little bit, enter a little high, try to get the car turned through the center, and then come off low. So we've been trying to do that a little bit to build some speed down the straightaway. It seems to be working, but you've got to get single filed out, and you got to have room to do it, because somebody will put their nose on the inside of you if you don't have room behind you, you know, to kind of move around a little bit, maneuver the car. It's just too tight up around the outside. You're going a longer way around, and it's actually tighter up there than it is down on the bottom of the racetrack, surprisingly. So you just kind of have to play it out, and whatever your car will do, you try to do.
Roger, you've pretty much been around all the cars there that you've raced with everybody surrounding you there. Who do you think's got the best car right now?
I mean, right now, I think the 24 seems good. The 33, a couple pit stops ago, they seem to have gotten their car really good, so they're fast. You know, the 11 and the 48, they're fast too. It's just a matter of just getting through traffic. You know, they're kind of stuck back there right now, and you know, everybody's feeding off the bottom of the racetrack. I remember when we dropped the green flag, you know, we were 15 deep, all running around the bottom of the racetrack, just kind of bumper carring each other a little bit. So that's just what it's like until you kind of get some wear on the tires and get some separation between the better handling cars and the ill handling cars.
Well, buddy, nice talking to you, but I'm gonna have to take a break here. I got a couple of hot dogs I thought I'd eat. You want somebody to bring you a hot dog?
No, I still have a couple hours before I can use the restroom, so I'll wait on that.
All right, my man. Good luck to you, and thanks for talking to us.
All right, have fun, boys. Thanks.
Kyle Busch running in 4th place under a red flag as they work on the wall in turn 3. Hey, next Saturday is a big day and night on Fox Sports.
Baseball's best rivalry renewed here on a Saturday afternoon. To his right. That ball was smoked.
How about that? What a great play by Gonzalez. What a shot. Diving play. Welcome to the show.
Yankees, Sox, Phillies, Braves. Wow. And then next Saturday night, NASCAR on Fox in the Lone Star State, Texas Motor Speedway. Big Saturday on Fox next Saturday. Daryl, who you want to talk to?
Well, we're dialing in Dale Jr. here right now. We got to get him on the, got to get his number up here. How we doing over here, buddy? Got him?
His owner, Rick Hendrick, got his first of 195 career wins here. April '84. Hendrick Motorsports then was called All-Star Racing, and Jeff Bodine in the then number 5 car picked up the first win for this man, who's now gone in to win 194 more.
Hey, Dale Jr., it's DW. Got a copy there, buddy?
Yep.
Hey, man, you're running pretty good today. You're not too bad a shape here right now. How's things going for you out there today?
Well, thanks. They're going pretty good. We got a pretty good car. We just didn't qualify good, so we'll just have to see what we can do. We're on these 2 tires. I think we're a little quicker than the 42, maybe an 18. I don't know about these guys behind me. The 11's probably pretty fast. The 1 looks good all weekend. So let's see what we can do with the National Guard Chevy.
Well, you've been inching up on it, buddy, a little bit better every week, and you love this joint, so you're getting ready to roll off here. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck.
All right, take it easy. Let's say hey to Mama. Mama.
That would be Mama Brenda.
Crew Chief Steve Letarte.
You know, Mike, you talked about Hendrick Motorsports winning that first race here back in 1984. They really didn't have a sponsor, and they had really struggled those first few races, and Rick was about ready to fold camp. And Harry Hyde, who was a crew chief, said, you know what? We have Jeff Bodine. Martinsville's next. Let's go there. Let's leave this one sponsor own the car that we had at Darlington when it was a complete disaster. They came here and won the race, and I think you can say pretty much the dynasty has been built.
Yeah, a fellow named Bob Adams was in the stands, noticed what they were doing, and signed on a small life insurance company as Rick's first sponsor, and the rest is history.
Little company down in Winston-Salem, B&R. They did a lot of engines back in the day for Sam Ard and others, and Rick had a relationship with those guys through drag racing, and they built the engines for the cars there for a number of years and had great success. And I'm telling you, when you stepped in one of those babies, even back in the day, they would go.
That was it. Ken Bingham and Ronnie Revis were B&R. Boy, they big steam. Engines have fired at Martinsville Speedway. We're ready to get back at it. Hope you enjoyed the halftime break. 222 laps are in the books, and the red flag caused by the Martin Truex Casey Kane crash up in turn number 3. The wall has been repaired. Kevin Harvick reaches for the switches and is ready to go racing.
Our fans in the hot dog line right now are getting antsy. They heard the cars crank.
The only place outside Martinsville Speedway I've seen hot dogs like that is a little hot dog stand just adjacent to Winston-Salem Airport. It's called Pullum's, and it's been there for over 100 years. A fellow named Mark Flint runs it now, and it's a favorite of the France family and all the NASCAR officials next door.
DW.
Yeah, buddy.
Got a little break here. Now the question is, I've seen this happen before. Rotors get warped sitting there cooling off. Sometimes you don't have a problem, then all of a sudden you have a problem. We get ready to roll off. So this may be good for some, could be bad for others.
Yeah, you're right, Jeff. I mean, there's a lot of heat in those brake rotors, and I have seen them do that. But I think the more important thing is we're almost to halfway here. It's a little halfway break. Driver kind of gets a chance to rest up a little bit, think about what he's got, what he wants to do. I think that's the more important thing. Diagnose your car, dissect the car, and get that information to the crew chief. Make the car better in the second half of the race.
Ken Schrader gets a push start. That is allowed after a red flag. And to recap, after a 24-minute red flag, almost 25, Clint Boyer is your leader, the first of 28 cars on the lead lap.
I don't know if the track's taking any rubber or not, but the old curb is. Yeah. Kirby's got a lot of rubber buildup on him.
It's about to turn black.
6 caution flags now.
And Mike, there's one of those rubber balls that we talk about, the buildup that picks the tires pick up. And if you get enough of those on there at once, like you would do if you get up high, problem.
And the big beneficiary on this caution is the number 22 of Kurt Busch. He will get the free pass and be back on the lead lap.
Don't think we'll
Excuse me, that was the caution to go was Kurt Busch. This time around, it's Matt Kenseth, who got a penalty right at the start of the race and has been working for the last 222 laps to get back on the lead lap. Now he will.
I don't think we'll see a lot of action on pit road because on that last caution they only have 11 laps on their tires. Like earlier, you may see some of the cars, some of the drivers at the back of the lead lap group come to pit road, but I think everyone else will stay out.
Hendrick Motorsports trying to tie Petty Enterprises for the most wins by one team here. 19 for the Petties out of Randleman, North Carolina, 18 for Hendrick, and 13 for Junior Johnson and Associates. There's one of the King's cars, A.J. Allmendinger, running in 14th, or running in 10th right now after qualifying 6th. And there is the King. It's been real windy this weekend. Perhaps that accounts for the lack of the cowboy hat atop Richard Petty.
Well, it'd be pretty hard to wear a headset. I guess you can wear it over a cowboy hat, but it seems to work better.
Sure. Matt?
Mike, Carl Edwards, one of those drivers who elected to hit pit road. They wanted half and half, both a track bar and wedge adjustment, making progress, but the car still way too loose on exit for the 99.
Brad Keselowski also stopped. Greg Biffle, Casey Mears have been on pit road during this caution. Joey Logano.
You know, a driver that caution right there really benefited. We had talked about Mark Martin in that 5. Remember, he was penalized for changing lanes on that restart back on lap 181. Took the wave around, and we had a quick caution, so now he goes back to the lead lap.
Mark currently 27th.
Yep, that's a perfect scenario for the wave around. Get the wave around, and then shortly thereafter get a caution, and you're back in business.
He's one of about 7 drivers that pitted under that caution right here.
So when we restart, 29 cars will be on the lead lap. And those who stopped also include A.J. Allmendinger, Tony Stewart, Casey Mears, you saw Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, Tony Raines, Kenny Schrader, and Landon Castle were all on pit road during this caution. So Kenseth gets the free pass. Jeff Gordon, after getting a free pass halfway through the race in 2005, won here. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, you can expect Jeff Gordon to be really aggressive on this restart. Crew Chief Alan Gustafson saying, hey, let's go up there and get us a bonus point for leading a lap.
So to check back in and see how your Pizza Hut fan favorite driver is doing, Jeff Gordon started the day in 21st. He is now up to second. 7 poles, 7 wins here. And we listened in on Clint Boyer.
Watch that 42 dive bomb. I mean, just, be ready for it. Be looking for that all day, the rest of the day. Yeah, we're going to have to protect the bottom on the starts here as best you can. 10-4.
Montoya will start second row inside. He has been seen to be especially up on the wheel on these restarts.
Back to what Steve Burns talked about, Jeff Gordon being aggressive on the restart. I know that's one thing that he put a lot of thought into, studied a lot of DVDs of past races, because he felt like one thing that hurt him last year was not getting a lot on restarts, losing a lot of ground. Made the commitment to be more aggressive this year at the drop of a green flag on a restart.
On a 25-minute red flag for cleanup and repair of the turn 3 wall. We're going to get back to green next time by, completing lap 229 as Martin Truex's car gets shoved into the hauler along with that of Casey Kane. Truex will likely finish about 40th today.
One thing I think you got to be aware of here, if you're the 33, you heard him say don't let the 42 dive bomb me. If he does, Jeff Gordon's going to be alongside the 33. We could have a big mess on our hands here on this restart.
Pace cars in. Boyer, Gordon, Montoya, Kyle Busch, then Earnhardt, Newman, getting ready for the restart. Green flag, we're racing again. Boyer gets away clean. It's Gordon and Montoya for second.
Montoya trying to keep that 24 car of Gordon on the high side. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 trying to follow through. Can Gordon dip down in behind Montoya? Gets there.
And here comes Kyle Busch. Now it's up to him to deal with the outside. Is he going forward or backward?
It's so tempting to get out there. The guy slows down so much on the bottom, and you think, surely I can get by him.
Denny Hamlin.
Kurt Busch hits the curb, and the 22 just drives Bobby Labonte in the 47 in the wall.
Here's a bunch of other cars spinning out and wrecking right behind him.
Just drove it in. Sorry.
Logano spins off the bumper of Robbie Gordon.
All right, we got a little right front damage. We're going to have to pit and at least pull the front out here.
Dave Blaney spins around as a lot of them stop to try to avoid this. And have a watch there at Kurt Busch.
Stuck up on the outside. Tough sledding out there. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
3 wide almost. But Brian Vickers got a nose under Kurt Busch. And there's what happened.
I think Vickers also saw Harvick was making it 3 wide going down there into turn 3, and something had to give.
Yeah, I mean, what? Yeah. that was not going to work.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I explain that there.
Let the pictures tell the tale.
Kurt Busch bounces off the curb, and Bobby Labonte in the 47 is the innocent victim.
Yep.
He probably wondered what in the world.
He probably like Casey Kane was with the Truex wreck. What are these guys thinking?
Caution is out for the 7th time today. Casey Kane.
Hold the brake, buddy. Hold the brake. Hold the brake. Okay, hold the brake.
Wow, that was huge.
You all right, bud? Yeah. I think it looked like the 56 lost his brakes or something. Something happened there. What do we got, Cole? To the corner and looked, and we were headed to the wall.
A hard crash for Martin Truex and Casey Kane. They are both okay. And shortly after the restart, a pileup in turn 3 when Kurt Busch got turned around, jumped over the curb, and right out into Bobby Labonte's path. So trying to repair Labonte's car, Ken Schrader is the free pass car on this, the 7th caution of the day. And we're still almost to halfway. Here's another look at what happened up in turn number 3.
Well, I'm like Larry. I have to look at this more than once.
I'm not sure where he was going.
I don't think he was aimed there, but I think he got a little help and got maybe a little turn there.
He had to get turned to get down. Somewhere back here, somebody's got to get into it.
See a little contact there with Vickers in the 83.
Right there. Oh, the 83 gets in him and man sends him into the grass, over the curb.
I don't think Harvick was helping matters in the 29 by making it 3 wide.
Getting a little ugly back there.
28 lead lap cars for the restart. We're back under green. Montoya outside of Bowyer. Jeff Gordon inside the second row. Kyle Busch outside. Dale Jr. and Denny Hamlin. Then Ryan Newman and Jimmy Johnson.
Montoya does the crossover down the back straightaway. Gets right up on the rear bumper of Bowyer in that 33.
Bowyer was a little bit worried about Montoya being a little aggressive on this restart.
This time Montoya comes to the inside to hold back Jeff Gordon, who had a great run off turn 4.
Yeah, he won't be able to hold him back this time. Jeff Gordon's got a pretty nice run here. Close the door.
Newman got into Hamlin just a bit, and that shoved Jimmy Johnson way up the racetrack. It was kind of coincidence contact, but Johnson became the victim, and he slides. Trouble turn 1.
No caution. Keep coming.
Menard and McDowell and Casey Mears. Cautions out.
Did I ever tell you how cautions create more cautions?
So first, let's show you what happened to Jimmy Johnson. This was before the caution came out. This the 8th yellow of the day. Ryan Newman, that red spoiler on the bottom, tips the 11, gets up into the 48, up into the marbles.
And of course, Jimmy now has got all that rubber on his tires, and he's just fighting to not lose any more spots.
Then down here at turn 1.
Oh, the 22 gets
the 2 gets Keselowski gets into Menard.
The 2 gets into him. Turns Menard around. Comes McDowell. Casey Mears.
Jamie Max.
Ahead over here. Stay low.
The first
stay low.
one.
Stay in it. Stay low. Keep taking outside 48. Outside and clear. All clear.
And let's ride with Kevin Harvick.
Check up.
Brad Keselowski into Paul Menard. That brings out caution number 8.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Toyota.
Sneaking up on halfway as there goes Paul Menard, bringing out this 8th and most recent caution in the Goody'S Fast Relief 500. Once again, Clint Bowyer, your leader. Montoya on the outside now. Jeff Gordon in 3rd, which has been the position to pounce from. Kyle Busch 4th. Earnhardt Jr., Newman, and they're going to wave off the restart for 1 lap. Piece of debris on the backstretch, and as these cars get more and more bent and banged up, loose pieces tend to fall off.
Yes, they do. Bumper bars, sheet metal, just like you see here. Bear bond tape. A lot of stuff flying before this whole day is over with.
Tempers.
A few of those too.
Steve.
Well, Mike, also want to point out Jimmy Johnson said his water temps are up to about 260 degrees after he made contact with the 1 of Jamie McMurray on their next stop. They're going to pull some tape off the grill.
All right, let's see if we can get to halfway. It is 3 laps away. Bowyer and Montoya. Green flag. Gordon is right there. And again, he and Montoya will duel for second.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88, trying to follow Jeff Gordon through there, side by side with Montoya in the 42 for third.
Kyle Busch on the outside, his teammate Hamlin inside him, then McMurray and Newman. Rudem and Reagan, and Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Burton.
Boy, did you see Montoya?
He tried to come down.
He faked him out. He said, I'm coming down, dude, but then he went back.
Denny Hamlin shuts the door on him. Here comes Kyle Busch in the 18. Montoya just cannot get down.
It's a helpless feeling. You're out there in no man's land, can't go anywhere, and they just keep going by.
And his teammate will not give him a break. McMurray in the 1, he's not going to let him down either.
You just got to make a hole. Maybe behind the 00 there. If I was the spotter, I'd say, get out now, get out now.
Here comes Big Daddy, Jeff Gordon to the lead.
The corner, clear. You're clear.
Tony Stewart's tough day continues. He'll get a pass-through penalty because he changed lanes before the start-finish line.
It's the third one of those today. Including Matt Kenseth at the start of the race.
Larry, just think about when they restart these races, the leaders are up here on the front on the straightaway, but a lot of guys are back in the turn still. So when you come off that corner and you got nowhere to go, the cars are out next to the wall, you got no option but to go up the middle.
Kyle Busch had a choice, throw his car sideways or slam it into Dale Jr. He tossed it sideways, caught it, and moves on in 5th.
Junior's car is getting a nice launch off the corner here, getting some good forward bite.
Stewart comes in to serve his penalty, and as Matt Kenseth and Mark Martin before him, he'll go a lap and a half down by driving around at pit road speed. Let's show you the restart and what happened to the 14 of Tony Stewart as he serves out his penalty. Yep, moved down to the inside before the line. And back for the lead comes Boyer.
Remember, the last time these cars were on pit road, Clint Boyer's crew took 2 right side tires. Jeff Gordon, as well as Denny Hamlin's crew, took 4 fresh tires.
What kind of tires they put on that 33 car, but they're looking like they're working pretty darn good.
Jeff Gordon has now led in his last 10 starts at Martinsville. In his career, 37 races here, he's led 29 of them and won 7.
Boy, he's fighting hard on that outside. That's as good as I've seen anybody be able to hold their own when they get hung out there like that. I think Boyer's been pretty nice to him also.
Right now, there is a line of about 7 cars lined up behind Boyer that will not let Jeff Gordon in the 24 down to the bottom.
Steve?
Mike, the problem is he just said he got loose, and you see he's trying to jump back in line now. He got loose.
And his teammate lets him in, or does he? Oh, no. Here comes Junior.
I don't see teammates letting anybody give them anything. We saw it with McMurray and Montoya a while ago.
We saw some give and take at the start of the race, and there we see some paint traded between Earnhardt and Gordon. We saw some give and take between Busch and Hamlin early in the race, but that was very early.
Yeah, and once you get out there like that, even though you're almost clear, you cannot take a chance on forcing your way in, or you'll be backward into the wall.
One lap ago, Montoya in the 42, Biffle inside in the 3M car. Oh, and Montoya just came right across him.
And that's what you got to do, and that's what Montoya knows. If I'm going to get down, I'm going to have to run over somebody.
For the lead, Hamlin back to the front.
Boyer tried to do the crossover, but Hamlin shuts the door.
A lot of room here, a lot of time. We're past halfway, nice and easy.
Halfway is sort of a magic number here. Once you get to halfway, you just feel like you can be a little more aggressive if everything's going good.
A lot of smoke from the back of Paul Menard. Remember, he was in the wall a while ago to bring a caution, and they're going to bring him to pit road.
Coming after them. Open. Get to the rear, breathe.
Right rear fender damage in on the tire for Menard.
He's had such a banner season so far in these first 5 races.
5th place race. Jamie McMurray, the pole sitter, inside of Jeff Gordon.
Now Another car, another driver keeps hanging in there. David Rudeman in that 00 car up there near the top 5. Started the race back in 8th position.
I'm just not sure why Jeff Gordon continues. He's had a couple opportunities to get down, but he seems to be trying to run that outside, making it work. Maybe he thinks he can one man and clean it off. I don't know, but it sure is costing him dearly right now. Maybe his car's not handling that good. He needs that outside line.
Jimmy Johnson now right behind him. Remember, Johnson reported that overheating problem. He has been unable to advance in this green flag run from about 8th, 9th place.
What'll be anxious to see is if he can get that car cooled down now that we're back into a long green run. I think when he was complaining about it, we'd run 2 laps, have a caution, run 2 laps, and then we had that red flag.
You know, as I watch this 24 car there, I believe he's loose in, and he just can't drive it down to the bottom. He's off, gets off pretty well, but he's a little too loose in, and that's what's got him trapped up there on the outside and didn't want to take a chance on cutting in front of somebody. What are they saying, Steve?
Well, Daryl, he said he was loose about 8 or 9 laps ago, right after the restart, and then the urgency in his voice 2 laps ago, he said, now I'm bad loose.
Yeah, it's what it looks like he's almost backing it into the corner. And that makes you real vulnerable. If you're that loose getting in, somebody taps you, you're going to go around.
We took a hard look at Jimmy Johnson's grill, and other than a few little pieces of rubber debris, nothing blocking the airflow to the radiator on his car. Kyle Busch and Dale Jr. 3rd and 4th.
Mike, when you run so close together here the way we do, all the heat off the car in front of you, your temps are going to be up. Let's see if we can see if Jeff Gordon's having to crank this thing to the right getting in the corner or not. Should be a good indicator if he's loose. Pretty neutral here down the straightaway. See, see how neutral the wheel is getting into the corner? He can't turn it. He needs to whack it to the left, and he can't.
Like we saw with Kyle Busch's steering wheel earlier.
Yeah.
The difference is Gordon's about 38, almost 40 degrees of wheel in the car. Kyle Busch was able to run through the corner with just 30 degrees of steering wheel input.
Okay, so that tells you that Jeff Gordon is loose in and tight off. Fix the loose in, that'll help the tight off. Just watching that steering wheel angle, though, you just can't get down there and turn it down into the bottom like you'd like to. He's having to be real gentle with it.
Bobby Labonte a little slow off pace off turn 3, and boy, a couple cars had to jump up and down to get past. Now there's Labonte. Vickers, oh, he got into Brian Vickers. That was a little bit of payback for the damage on Labonte's car.
And look who paid for it.
Yeah, Jeff Burton in the 31. All that damage on his right front. You can see the hood buckled over there. He's just right from Martinsville now.
Yeah, no tire rub, so that shouldn't hurt anything. Brake duct's intact.
Don't lose sight of Burton. He started 32nd. He's come up to 13th and flirted with the top 10.
We had talked about Paul Menard having the issues. He's actually in the garage area. They've got a hole in an oil line they're going to have to repair.
Ninth place, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Newman. Newman's car just not working like it was in the first 100 laps of this race.
It's almost like a yo-yo. You know, you go up to the front, you get in the wrong line, you go to the back. You go up to the front, you get the wrong line, go to the back.
Newman to the inside. He's got clearance. And makes the pass on Jimmy Johnson. Matt?
Mike, still extremely tight. The issue for Ryan Newman, they're looking to make a big adjustment on their next stop. They just feel like they haven't made a huge adjustment enough to keep up with the racetrack change, and that's the game plan for the 39.
Daryl, what's that feel like when you go down in the corner and the car just doesn't want to turn?
Well, have you ever had to hold your steering wheel with both hands and you turned it as far as you could and your arms got crossed?
And nothing else happened?
And it still won't turn?
Right.
That's pretty much extremely tight. The front tires were not gripped.
The front tires are just sliding.
That's it.
We just keep ramping it up here these next few weeks. We're at the smallest racetrack here this week, Texas next week, and Talladega in 2 weeks.
Yeah, don't forget that Texas race is Saturday night under the lights. That'll be fun.
Everything's all right on Saturday night. I guarantee you, Eddie Gossage, he'll have something special going on.
Always.
Look at the right side of Allmendinger's car. You can hardly read the King's number 43, much less the sponsor decals.
He's been racing.
Been racing hard, buddy.
Sprint users have spoken. We're going to ride shotgun with Jimmy Johnson. Brought to you by Sprint and HTC Evo 4G.
Try to get off that rubber. Looking inside. Clear. Inside, clear.
Fuel your inner NASCAR fan with live in-car audio and real-time stats on NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile and the new HTC Evo 4G, only from Sprint at sprint.com/speed.
Jeff Gordon's car is really loose. Jimmy Johnson's car is really tight. It won't turn through the middle of the corner, and that's opening up the door for some of these other cars. But you know what Jimmy Johnson will do? He won't panic. You heard him not. He's not saying anything on the radio. He's not screaming at Chad. They'll get it fixed.
Matt Kenseth in that 17 car working his way back. He's up to the 16th position. Got that penalty at the drop of the green flag for changing lanes. Spent over 200 laps trying to get back on the lead lap.
Battle for 10th, upper left. Allmendinger takes it.
All I can say is it's a good thing Ricky Smith has a good spotter, because that 2 car was going to go down underneath him whether he liked it or not.
Keselowski up for 17th, and at the bottom of your screen the leaders were. And Jeff Burton gets a little space inside Brian Vickers. 12th place here. Burton has improved his finish over the previous race every race this year. He was 15th at California. See if he can pull off a top 15 here.
And looking at Brian Vickers in that 83 car, first 5 races of 2011 when he has not been involved in a wreck, he's finished in the top 10, including last week at Auto Club Speedway.
216 laps to go. Denny Hamlin leading his teammate Kyle Busch by 0.7 of a second.
Glad you're watching the Goody'S Fast Relief 500. It's NASCAR on Fox. And Denny Hamlin, who's won 5 of the last 6 races run in the state of Virginia. He's from Virginia, is your leader. Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon following with 207 laps to go. Clint Boyer has led the most laps, 91. We might have the 6th different winner in the first 6 races this year. And so far, we've seen changing lanes around the start-finish line. Drivers taking a lot more of a chance as we rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. Denny Hamlin has now led this race 6 times for 68 laps.
And remember, Denny Hamlin, this is where he felt like he jump-started his season last year coming out of here. So pretty good start to jump-starting this year, looks like.
His teammate Kyle Busch holding station. Busch has led once for 30 laps today after starting 11th. Joe Gibbs Racing finished 1-2 here last year. Hamlin leading Joey Logano to the line. 3rd place, Jeff Gordon. Steve?
Well, Mike, it wasn't that long ago Jeff Gordon said his car was real loose, but the longer he runs, the better it gets. He just told Alec Gustafson, just need to tighten me up a little bit now. Car's getting better. Krista?
Well, after all those restarts, Clint Boyer was concerned because his car was getting free. That is what has happened to him to make him slide back in the pack a little bit too free, Mike.
Slow car turn 3 up near the wall, and it's Michael McDowell who had been running on the lead lap in 25th position.
Looks like a right rear tire maybe down on that car.
We stay green. A lot of damage on Casey Mears as he's slow in the back straightaway.
Both of those drivers were still on the lead lap.
Mears are right front. And McDowell still up on the outside at turn 2. Mears makes it to pit road. And McDowell, if he can turn that car to the left, and he does, we will stay green.
Yeah, McDowell can get a tire and get going again. Casey Mears, on the other hand, he's going to need a whole new body.
Stand in front of me.
Yeah, you can see right there the back end just pops out.
It definitely looked like he had a tire going down.
Definitely right rear, yeah. Banged it pretty good.
It's the right rear that's down on that car.
Yeah. So we continue under green, and let's pick up with Jamie McMurray at 5th place. McMurray, you're riding along with him. He was our pole sitter. Led 31 laps at the start of the race, currently 5th.
Making his 300th career start here this weekend. Best finish so far in 2011, 18th at Daytona. Could improve on that today.
My man David Ruderman, he's sitting there in 6th spot. And you know, Larry, even from the get-go of this race, he's been running up here in that top 5 or 6 all day long. And the car looks in good shape, not all beaten up yet. So he's doing a good job.
Ryan Newman, the outside pole sitter, top 10 finish in 10 of his last 13 short track races. Newman holding tough in 7th. And then AJ. Dick?
Well, Digger's had a pretty good day for himself, Mike. Car's a little bit loose coming off the corners, a little bit tight in the center. The loose off is what they tried to fix before the drop of the green flag today. Matt.
Dick, Dale Earnhardt Jr. got hung on the outside, lost 4 spots, now back to 9. Looking impressive on those 2 tires. He says after about 40 laps, his car has little fall off compared to the competition. They just need long green flag runs from here to the finish.
David Reagan in the number 6 was fastest in Friday practice, but yesterday qualified 14th. He runs in the 10th spot. Steve?
Crew Chief Chad Canals just asked spotter Earl Barber. He says, look at the 24 car and tell me where he's running because his times are picking up. Earl's feedback is, or was, the 24 cars entering the corners higher than Jimmy and hugging the curb coming off the turn. Let's go to Jeff Hammond.
Thanks, Steve. And the thing is, right now we're looking at Carl Edwards, our point leader. He's had mechanical woes ever since he started way back at 23rd at the drop of the green flag. He's finally got this car working, and under the encouragement of his crew chief, Bob Osborne, they've made the right adjustments. They've got the 99 car at least going forward and making some progress.
Carl is 13th, just ahead of him on Paulo Montoya. Started 27th, didn't have a great qualifying run, but he has been up in the top 15 most all day and took a couple of restarts from up on or right next to the front row. He is 12th. Allmendinger passes Ruderman. That's for 7th place.
Yeah, I don't think Ruderman's real happy with Allmendinger. Allmendinger got into David going down the front straight here last time by, turned him about half sideways, but Allmendinger's on the move.
Or if there's 2 drivers that need something good to come out of today, it would be those 2 guys right there. As we see Denny Hamlin, our leader, about to put his teammate of one day, Tony Stewart, back in the day at Joe Gibbs Racing, about to put him another lap down. Remember, Tony has already went a lap down because of that penalty of changing lanes on a restart.
So Stewart goes 2 down. Casey Mears back on track after damage, and let's pick up the running order at 14th place with Matt Kenseth. Kenseth was judged to have changed lanes before the start-finish line on the initial start of the race, and he spent the next 220 laps trying to get back on the lead lap and finally got a free pass. So he has recovered nicely.
He has, and I've watched him do all that, Mike, and he's got a good race car. It's handling good, it's running good, and then another car that's pretty good shape here.
Brian Vickers today started 13th, running 15th, but he's been up on the top 10 on several occasions. And he's put the fender to a couple of fellows, as you can see from the right front. Brad Keselowski also brought out the 8th caution of the day when he got into the back of Paul Menard down in turn number 1. Brad started 22nd. He is 6 points ahead of that. Krista?
Jeff Burton right now is sliding back. He said his car will not turn, but not because it's tight, but because it's loose. But despite their qualifying position, Chief Todd Barrier said, we have one of the best cars out here. Keep doing what you got to do.
How about Regan Smith, Darrell? What an improvement for that whole team and for Regan over past seasons.
Now, they got a fine last week from NASCAR, $25,000, Pete Rondo, for a piece of weight that wasn't secured properly. But this team has been on a tear. Their qualifying has been exceptionally good. Their racing is getting better.
Mark Martin, they're racing with Joey Logano. Mark started 12th, and he also had to serve a penalty and recover from it, back on the lead lap in 19th.
A.J. Allmendinger in this 43 car, he just keeps picking them up and laying them down as he drives by Jamie McMurray. That moves him up into the 6th position. You know, Joey Logano in that 20 car we saw just a minute ago, they have had a fast race car or race cars here all weekend. This is a backup car after a practice crash, but he got behind earlier in the race. Remember, he finished 2nd here a year ago to his teammate, Denny Hamlin.
Been getting pushed around a lot. I mean, he's got knocked around all afternoon, but it looks like he's doing all right. Here's a Hamlin on pit road.
Well, this will make folks wake up and take notice because with all the success Hamlin's had here. Matt, problem?
Nope, scheduled pit stop, Mike, except for a small hiccup on the first stop. Denny Hamlin's guys, they have performed flawlessly going over the wall. Hamlin says his car still on the tight side. It's been consistently tight throughout much of the race. Heath Cherry, the tire carrier, going to make a track bar adjustment, trying to free this race car up. Solid stop so far.
Boy, I tell you, this is when I really, as a driver, get nervous. First fast car on pit lane, praying. Just praying there are no cautions.
Yeah, they wanted to cycle through green flag pit stops. All of the leaders were on pit road back at lap 204. This is about 110 laps. Felt like they could maybe go a little further than this.
Yeah, I thought about 125 or 30, but that's pretty early.
But now that Hamlin's been in, Larry, if you're crewing one of these top 5 cars, do you want to come early so you're not losing any time on the watch to him?
At Martinsville, I do not want to pit until I have to have fuel because you know you're just lurking with a caution about to come out anytime.
As long as cars are moving on the racetrack, Mike, there's a pretty good chance there'll be a caution, and I don't want to see what I mean right here.
Yeah, it's almost now.
I don't want to be out there with 4 fresh tires 2 laps down.
So getting bent up there was Jeff Burton quite a bit, and Kyle Busch, your leader. Jeff Gordon now 4.6 seconds back in 2nd place.
But who's the guy that we all stood up here last year and said, you can't do that at the end of the race? Came and got 4 tires, and we thought he'd made the biggest mistake ever. Mike Ford, and it worked out.
Tick-tock, grandfather clock. So Denny Hamlin is pitted. The race rages on.
Now, I want to add to this story. You look at A.J. Allmendinger in the 43 car running in the 5th position. He was on pit road at lap 224, so he can even go a lot further as we see Denny Hamlin's teammate, Kyle Busch in the 18, hit pit road.
And that's why he's passing a lot of these cars, too, because his tires are a little bit better. Krista.
Yeah, Kyle Busch, they had planned to come in after Denny Hamlin, their teammate. They said their car's a little better, a small adjustment. They wavered on this. They said, should we go track bar? Kyle said, I'll go whatever direction you want me to. Dick?
Well, Jamie McMurray's car has been loose in, loose off, tight in the middle. He's lost his drive off, so they're going to pit and try to fix that. Krista.
The plan for Clint Boyer was to come in after the 18 of Kyle Busch, so they didn't get boxed in. They are 1 pit stop closer to turn 1. Clint is in right now, and he said, I need to be tightened up just a bit. They plan to do that with a track bar adjustment. Also, remember, he was one of the cars on 2 tires, so you can bet it'll be a 4-tire change.
Car in the wall, turn 4. It is Brad Keselowski. He's going to try to limp around to pit road. Everybody who stopped is hoping this stays green.
This is what we were talking about, because not only are you lurking with a caution, you're working with cars, drivers that are out there that may be losing that right front tire.
David Reagan had to jump the curve because he was inside Hermie Sadler trying to miss Keselowski. Did it, got away with it. We're still green as Brad tries to fight his way to pit road. He's going to make it. Wow.
There were about 6 drivers absolutely holding their breath right there.
Well, that's when the driver says, I knew it, I told you.
All right, Jeff Gordon's the new leader. And Larry, looking at the watch, Denny Hamlin, the first driver to pit in this sequence, he's 0.4 of a second faster than the leader. Does that matter?
If it cycles all the way through, sure it does, Mike. But the question is, will it cycle all the way through?
Steve.
Jeff Gordon's going to get a small wedge adjustment, but heads up by his spotter, Jeff Dickerson. When the 2 cars slowed, he said, do not pit. Do not pit. He went around one more time to see if the caution came out. 4 tires and a wedge adjustment, Matt.
39 of Ryan Newman came on the radio and told his team, I may be out of fuel. And he said, check that. I may be blowing up. His team up on the wall waiting for Newman to make his way all the way down this pit road. His car extremely tight. They're going to make a big adjustment on this stop.
Kurt Busch is in. David Reagan, Greg Biffle in for service. Dave Blaney. As green flag stops continue, Bobby Labonte's in. Jimmy Johnson. Brian Vickers, and Joey Logano. All making pit stops. A.J. Allmendinger's the new leader. Steve.
Mike, Jimmy Johnson told Chad Canals that red flag killed us. This car just has not been the same since. 4 tires for Jimmy Johnson. They're also going to make an air pressure adjustment on that number 48.
And Hammond was talking about the brakes, rotors may be warping from the heat. I have seen the tires sit there, get cold, cool off. When you go back to running, it just doesn't, the car doesn't like them.
Allmendinger the leader, Matt Kenseth in second, Montoya, Edwards, Martin, and Harvick. And then Robbie Gordon. Those are the drivers who have not pitted on the lead lap, along with Ken Schrader.
Fuel-wise, Allmendinger in the 43 should be able to go another 15 to 20 laps easily.
A.J. Allmendinger from out of open wheel, and here is Robbie Gordon. And back to Matt on Ryan Newman.
Mike, you can hear his engine in his pit box. Ryan Newman's car sounded sick. The last time by, he keyed the mic and said, it is blowing up. He's going to try to hold on as long as he can.
It's our guy that comes in here second in the points.
Matt Kenseth to pit road, along with Juan Pablo Montoya, as Robbie Gordon finishes up and Jeff Burton leaves. Kristen.
Juan Pablo Montoya has a good car despite falling back after not being able to get back to that bottom line. His car was good, and moving forward, they were also one of the cars on 2 tires, so it's a 4-tire change for Juan Pablo.
And A.J. Allmendinger coming down pit road. This is the first time Dinger has ever led at Martinsville, having the best run of his career at this little paperclip speedway. Crew at the ready for him. Minor adjustments on the number 43 car. Nothing major for Dinger on this pit stop.
And for the first time in his Sprint Cup career, Carl Edwards is going to lead a lap here.
I bet he's really happy about that too, because he won't have to hear that anymore.
Fighting the power steering, never led a lap here, and now all that changes as Edwards stays out to the end of this green flag sequence.
We have 3 drivers that's not pitted yet. Carl Edwards in the 99, Mark Martin in the 5, Kevin Harvick in the 29 car still out there. These are cars that pitted later than some of the drivers that's been leading this thing of late. And there comes Mark Martin hitting pit road now.
And that was Ken Schrader, who had been at the tail end of the lead lap, but with all these stops moves up to 6th.
Schrader's been running, he's right around 21st to 2nd, 3rd, right along in there. Doing a nice job in Frankie Stoddard's number 32 car.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Mark Martin has had a really tough day, Mike. He started in the 12th spot this morning. They thought they had something for everybody here, but not today. The car has just not been good, and they've also suffered a penalty. Matt?
Bob Osborne telling his guys it's a nice, consistent, smooth stop for Carl Edwards. Edwards said he hit pit road this time. The right rear was starting to come apart, worn out. The car was free early in the run. Right near the end, he said it's the best it has been all day. He hasn't said anything, guys, about his power steering for about 150 laps.
Kevin Harvick picks up the lead for 1 lap, the first one that he has led today, and now Harvick makes his way to the pit road, and we cycle all the way around to Kyle Busch, the new leader.
He's going to have almost a 4-second lead on his teammate Denny Hamlin in that 11 as it's cycled all the way through.
Now Kenny Schrader is the only driver who has not stopped. He's now the 3rd place car. Now during the early part of this pit stop cycle, Brad Keselowski came very close to bringing out a caution with the blue deuce.
You can see right there, right front tire down, up. I don't even know if he hit the wall or not. He may have kissed it a tad.
Now watch Reagan. He has to curb hop and slide up into Hermie Sadler to keep from spinning out as they went off in that corner 3 wide. 2 of them at race speed, and Keselowski just trying to creep to the pits.
NASCAR's been pretty hesitant to throw a caution today. Here's our buddy Kenny Schrader coming for Frankie Stoddard here.
5th place driver right now.
Great effort.
A little bit of ding on the right front corner, but that's okay.
Much longer. We're going to have to come here a few laps here. You feel the right front a little bit? Yeah, I'm losing some. It ain't terrible. Everybody get ready now. Everybody be ready.
Now you hear Frankie Stoddard talking to Schrader, trying to keep him out there for track position should a caution come out. You know, they're a top 10 car. If they stay out too long, by the time they make their stop, they'll be a lap down.
But he pitted under the last caution. He was actually on pit road at lap 244. And you know what? This is really not a gamble for Kenny Schrader and that team, because you know what? If they can catch a caution, they are sitting in the catbird seat as far as maybe staying on the lead lap.
Schrader's a good guy to have in a car here. I mean, he had some good runs here earlier in the 2000s. Beth Ann Morgenthal's car, he rode a number of top 10 finishes.
And Schrader's first 6 races here were for the Virginia gentleman, Junie Donlevy. Happy birthday, Junie. 87 years young next week.
Oh, my. Happy birthday, buddy.
Got a lot of drivers' careers started.
Now, Denny Hamlin was leading Kyle Busch by 1 second before their pit stops. Hamlin is now 5 seconds back and seems to be fading a little bit.
And he also had advantage of about 4 or 5 laps fresh tires versus the 18. So there was a lot of ground lost somewhere in that transition.
I tell you, Kyle Busch would make a great Formula One driver, because his in laps before he gets ready to pass a pit and his out laps on fresh tires are absolutely phenomenal.
Good point. Now, Carl Edwards stayed out quite a while and is now 1 lap down as a result of this green flag cycle.
But you saw how he just drove by Denny Hamlin. That's the difference in about 20 to 25 lap fresher tires on Carl Edwards in the 99.
Carl stopped at lap 335. Hamlin was in at 315, a 20 lap difference, as Kyle Busch leads the Goody'S Fast Relief 500.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is delivered by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you.
Caution flag number 9. Trevor Bayne cut down a left rear tire and could not get to pit road. So we're under caution for the 9th time today. Kyle Busch leads them in. Krista?
The 18, Kyle Busch, saying, I don't know, guys, it's not bad. Maybe just a little bit more of what you gave me before. So just a quarter round on the track bar and the 4 tires. Matt?
Over at his teammate pits, Mike Ford told his over-the-wall guys, listen up, we have got to get it done right here. That's all I'm going to say about it. Then he says the car started off great, but now it's too tight. Steve.
Well, Matt, they talked about making some changes on the 24 car. Ultimately, Jeff Gordon said, leave it the way it is. So 4 tires and fuel for the 24, Jeff Gordon. Dick.
Jamie McMurray having a really good day for himself on pit road right now. The smallest of all the changes he's made all day. Right now, 0 changes on car number 1. He had been running in 5th and has a car that's capable of challenging for the win this afternoon. A slow stop, though.
Kyle wins the race off pit road ahead of Denny Hamlin and Jeff Gordon. Jamie Mack picks up a spot. And a quick update on Jeff Burton, who made 2 pit stops under green. The first one, he was on pit road, thought the caution was going to come out for Keselowski and drove past his pit. Then he still had to come back in and make his stop. Here's an AT&T race break. Down to Chris.
All right, thanks, Mike. And through the early portion of the race, it was Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson. But over the last stretch, Clint Boyer led the most laps. And right now at 91 laps led, that is the most so far. Lap 221, things changed. Truex with a stuck throttle into Casey Kane. Both drivers okay. Both drivers out of the race. So that's an onboard look of what the experience was like. We had a red flag as they repaired the safer barrier, about a 25-minute delay, and then Kurt Busch getting into Bobby Labonte. He was running, Kurt Busch was 15th place at the time, and since it's been a little Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin, as we have now 146 laps to go.
Yeah, right now you're seeing the 1 car, Jamie McMurray, who was running in the 4th position. He's got to make another pit back to the pit road because they left a lug nut loose here on the left-hand side. Watch the official right there. He lets the crew know ahead of time. Right there, he said, oh, there it is. They knew they had trouble. You could see the reaction of some of the crew members. That's really going to hurt him.
We've had 23 lead changes. 25 is the record for this track. Jeff Hammond, how about the Denny Hamlin pit stop? So the green flag stop, he was losing ground to Kyle Busch. Recently another stop for the 11 car.
Well, they were a lot better this last time. The previous green flag stop, they lost 3.5 seconds to the 18, which really showed up dramatically when they worked their way back around. The 18 was in the leader. So this team, and I think we heard Mike Ford, tell the guys when he came down pit road, you have got to make it happen. You show right here, here's a pit crew comparison on those green flag stops. The crew, 13.7 on the 18 car, 17.4 on Denny Hamlin's number 11. Overall, the driver did a good job, but you see the total time, big separation as far as the track is concerned.
You know, these lead changes like scoring plays in football or baseball just had our 25th lead change, so that equals the track record for Martinsville, the oldest track in the business.
Right now we're taking a look at Ryan Newman in the 39 car, who was our outside pole sitter. He apparently has got something wrong with the engine coming back down on pit road. They're going to try to do some work on this car to get him to the end of the race, because again, he's second to points and having a pretty strong run right now. That's his crew chief right there, Tony Gibson, talking to the guys from Hendrick Engines. So they're probably trying to figure out what we're going to do.
And Kyle Busch leading Denny Hamlin. Of his 7 short track wins in Kyle Busch's career, Jeff, none has come at Martinsville.
This is a tough racetrack. We talked about it at the very beginning of our pre-race. Not everybody can figure out how to win at this racetrack. And right now, Kyle Busch is trying to go basically to school on his teammate, Denny Hamlin, who has got this place figured out. He's won the last 3 races here at Martinsville.
Yeah, Denny told us on the pre-race show, we said, what's the secret? He said, well, I don't want to say.
That's right.
Competitors are listening. All right, is it that big of a secret? He said, give me a good car. And he was complaining about some of the issues on the recent pit stop.
You see right there, these guys here, that's part of the 39 team of Ryan Newman. They were discussing their problem, trying to figure out whether it's a valve spring, whether it's a spark plug, as we watch both the Joe Gibbs guys. And one thing I want to point out right quick, Joe Gibbs out front after having the problems they had last week with the 11 car as far as the engine is concerned. So they got to be feeling pretty proud, at least at this moment, with 143 laps to go.
Yeah, in the first 5 races, they had 6 engine problems, 3 of those before the cars were even on the track. Current standings for the fastest pit crew and how you voted so far. You can find the final race standings as soon as the checkered flag drops. Text your crew, reply OK when prompted to receive exclusive updates. AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. And we are under our 9th caution. Again, Mike, the record lead change mark equaled here in Martinsville, and we still have a few more to go, I'm sure.
Thanks, Chris. What you're seeing is 14 cars take the wave around. If you elect not to pit under this caution, you can line up, stay behind the pace car, work your way around to the tail end of the lineup, gain back one of the laps that you were down. I won't run them all down, but 14 of them did it to try to overcome losing a lap during green flag pit stops. Kyle Busch gets the jump on Denny Hamlin. Here comes Jeff Gordon to cover the inside spot. Then it's Boyer outside, Allmendinger inside with Rudeman, Johnson outside with Logano, then Dale Jr., David Reagan, and Greg Biffle.
Seems like there's a little bit more grip than there has been on that outside lane. Guys are able to hold their own out there. Denny Hamlin with Jeff Gordon right now.
I think we're finally getting a little bit of rubber. You can start to see that second lane turn a little bit black now.
But you can see what happens when Gordon gets a shot. He can clear the 11 car and pull away.
Single file back to Greg Biffle on the outside of Dale Jr.
Greg Biffle just drove it down into 3 and 4 on the outside, and he made it stick and made it work.
The outside is definitely better than it's been all day. Seeing guys that, like I said, you can hold your own for a little while out there now.
Biffle might be in the process of trying to make the first outside pass all day that didn't have some bump and run involved.
I don't know if you can make a pass out there, but it's not as bad as it was.
Reagan inside to cover. Biffle's got to look for a place to drop in line. And Jeff Gordon comes hunting the lead once again.
I like the way Jeff's car looks. Watch how he goes in. He goes in a little high getting in right here, but he diamonds the corner right there, and then he really cuts it down. Gets a great run off the corner.
Night race on the Texas Motor Speedway next Saturday night. NASCAR on Fox. Same players, whole different venue, as Gordon puts the bumper to Kyle Busch. Little bump on exit.
Gordon's there. I think he'll make the pass here.
Yeah, he'll win this battle getting down into turn 3.
Just enough position to get that bottom line.
Even door, corner, clear. All clear.
Denny Hamlin was third, but unable to gain advantage.
The way that 24 looks right now, he may say goodbye.
By 1 on throttle.
He might check out on these guys for a while.
No driver in this field has won more Martinsville races than Jeff Gordon. He's got 7 of those grandfather clocks to wind.
You know, he just drove by Kyle Busch. Last year, Jeff Gordon said that one time they were teammates at Hendrick Motorsports. He said Kyle Busch is the most talented driver in the Sprint Cup Series. I think that's why he was so excited when he beat him at Phoenix back in February.
That was a good time to pay Kyle that compliment.
Yes, it was.
Clint Boyer remains in the top 5, sits there in 4th place, lurking. He has led this race more laps than anybody else, 91 laps. Right there ahead of Jimmy Johnson. Just stays right there in position.
Boyer reminds me of, he's like a throwback driver. You know, back in Earnhardt and Cale Yarborough and those kind of blue collar guys that really just kind of guys you like.
Guys who live to race.
Yeah.
Up front, let's have a look at Jeff Gordon's day so far. He started 21st. He was second fastest in practice, didn't qualify well, but kept climbing the ladder. And now leads this race at lap 369.
Looks like right now Kyle Busch in the 18, he's trying to make a run in the middle of the corner, but Jeff Gordon just gets off the corner.
39 car just playing. Got to let for a tire down.
Come on, go on if you can. There's the leader.
Tough break for the outside pole sitter.
Stuart Haas is having a tough day, Larry.
Now they had engine trouble. I hope he's running and just looking for a place to. Here he comes.
Yeah, he was going down. This has been flat for about. He came off turn 2 with it flat, went all the way down the back before he gets down here. Round goes Newman.
Newman started outside pole. This will take him off the lead lap.
Mike, with this restart being only 11 laps ago, all those cars that took that wave around certainly paid dividends for them.
Dale Jr. is the first of the cars to pit, along with Jamie McMurray, Matt Kenseth, Montoya, Edwards, Smith, Newman, of course, with the flat tire. Kurt Busch, Harvick, and Mark Martin are all on pit road. Everyone else on the lead lap stays out. Matt?
Mike, the call from Steve Letarte is going 4 tires on this stop. That way they are good to go to the end. If they have to pit, they've got the 2-tire option. His biggest issue, just forward bite on this 88 machine. Dick?
Jamie McMurray on pit road right now in his green #1 car. The penalty from the last pit stop where they left the lug nut off didn't hurt him all that much. He is pitting out of the 10th position. Car still good. No major adjustments all day on McMurray's car.
Thanks, Dick. Let's take a look and see if the flat tire on Newman's left rear was caused by contact.
It's usually a right front and a left rear that come together somewhere right about there. But Larry, I like the strategy of getting 4 tires right now. Get them now and you've got options.
You know the other thing it does, by pitting here with 127 laps to go, if you get your fuel tank full, you don't have to worry about fuel no more. All you can worry about is tires and adjustments.
It's a good move.
There's your free pass car, David Reagan in the #6, and Newman goes a lap down as a result of the flat tire and the caution flag. Tony Stewart trying to overcome a penalty. He is 2 laps down in 26th. Bobby Labonte trying to overcome crash damage is 6 laps behind.
I think smoke Tony Stewart, he's just looking for the checkered flag to wave on this thing. It has been a rough weekend for Tony Stewart.
Jeff Gordon, your race leader. He's been out in front 3 times for a total of 20 laps now. And Krista, how about the 2nd place car?
Well, Kyle Busch is being very descriptive on the radio right now with his crew chief, Dave Rogers. Dave Rogers actually telling him, you break down Bristol better than any driver out here, and that place is a lot faster. What can I do for you? And Kyle's saying, well, I'm afraid I'm the best car in the center, but if we keep changing it, I'm just going to get too loose. I just don't know how to make speed.
Well, it's a dilemma. if you speed your car up, you may abuse your tires. And I think it's a balancing act right now with these tires and how would you like your car to be. I think a little snug car is a little bit easier on the tires than one that's burning that right rear up.
Alan Gustafson, Jeff Gordon's crew chief. Mike Ford, Denny Hamlin's crew chief. Who you had on trackside Friday night on
We
skate.
did. He did a great job, and I told him, I said, my favorite picture of you is from last year when you won Texas. Had that cowboy hat on.
About 8 sizes too small.
It didn't fit on him well at all.
Jeff Gordon has now just passed Richard Petty for 4th in all-time laps led here at Martinsville Speedway as we get set for the restart, completing lap 376. Gordon and Busch, Hamlin and Boyer, Johnson and Allmendinger. Here we go.
The top 8 drivers stayed out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88, 4 fresh tires back at 9th.
And now only 18 cars on the lead lap. Everybody sorts out single file, except Joey Logano. And Jeff Burton piled into somebody.
Yeah, over in turn 3. I mean, he just drove the front end of the car right up in the air. You can see the hood. He can't even see where he's going.
When you get to the yellow line, I'll let you know when you're there. Get left, get left, get left.
You know, that started well in front of him. Kurt Busch and somebody got together, and the ripple effect just accordioned all the way back through the field.
His spotter was pretty much having to drive his race car, getting him on the pit road.
I saw a guy one time that happened. He came on the pit road, and the crew member jumped up on the hood. It was like a sliding board. He went right back down on the ground.
Daryl, I look at Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car running up there in 5th, and I think you said it earlier. That car was starting to go backwards. It was starting to overheat, and you said the one thing that he will not do is panic. And Steve, there he is back in the top 5.
You're exactly right, Larry. And what Jimmy Johnson is saying is that the car is a little bit lazy in the center. He says, I have to wait an extra beat to get on the gas when I'm stuck in traffic.
Just doesn't have that grip right there in the middle of the corner like he'd like to have it right now.
And that waiting costs you a lot of time.
Look at the top of your screen. Those cars with the gray background, they are the cars out of the race. And only 6 of them, despite all of the contact and carnage, only 6 cars have retired from the race. 37 running. 18 of those on the lead lap, led by Jeff Gordon.
Boy, Jeff Burton in the 31 came back out on the racetrack almost right in the middle of those leaders and actually bottled them up for a second back there about Joey Logano in the 20, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88.
Well, Larry, there's just nowhere to get out. You just can't get out of the way. When you're trying to get out of the way, you're down in the groove.
I wish you'd look at the parts and pieces hanging off that thing.
It sort of looks like it got run over by a caterpillar.
Mark Martin trying to pull alongside. You can see aerodynamics doesn't count for a whole lot here. Good thing.
Visibility might help a little bit, but
well, Jeff Gordon's your leader, but he's certainly not getting away from Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. A Chevy leading 2 Toyotas, 2 more Chevys in the top 5, Boyer and Johnson. Allmendinger is the first Ford in the race at 6th, and Kurt Busch is the first Dodge at 16th.
Kyle has the gusto of a hungry hound, let me tell you, and he is tenacious. He will wear you out. You ain't going to get away from him.
There's a look at Kurt Busch, first of the 4 Dodges in the race, while Kyle tries to overhaul Jeff Gordon for the lead.
I think the guy that they better be worried about running 4th right now just went by Boyer. 5 time is slipping back in the picture.
And you know, Allmendinger has driven an inspired race so far. He can't get out of that second pack perhaps to challenge these 3. But the Dinger's right up there in the 43. The King's 43 in the top half dozen. And you heard him in the pre-race talking about how with Morris Petty there, and with Lee Petty on the side of the car for the 43 for the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I mean, Richard's won here 15 times, so every time Allmendinger comes in here with that number, he's got to hear it from everybody.
You know, it wasn't but about 200 laps ago we were saying, what is wrong with Kevin Harvick, our winner from Auto Club Speedway, and Jeff Hammond? The man has now cracked the top 10.
Well, what did Mike Joyce say last week about Kevin Harvick? He is the greatest closer of all. Well, right now, he is up in the top 10. And guys, he just ran his fastest lap on lap 385. It's taken him a while, but finally, Gil Martin and this team, they're finally making it happen for the number 29 of Kevin Harvick, and they've been slowly but methodically working their way up through the field.
And Larry, he was one of those drivers who took and benefited from the wave around.
Took the wave around. That last caution, he was on pit road for 4 fresh tires.
111 laps to go. Jeff Gordon leading.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by the new Chevy Silverado HD, Motor Trend's 2011 Truck of the Year, by Subway Restaurants, the official training restaurant of Carl Edwards, Subway, Eat Fresh, and by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Just about 100 laps to go here at Martinsville, and 7 laps ago, Kyle Busch went past Jeff Gordon to retake the lead. From Jeff's on
He's just running his left side where you were. Middle run. Come in corner door. Just when you see him, 11th one back. There you go.
So Kyle Busch to the front after a little wave from Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, well, Jeff just doesn't want to run that hard. He still knows there's 100 laps to go. Got to save just a skosh.
Earlier this season, what does Jeff Gordon have to say about Kyle Busch?
Next to Jimmy Johnson, I think he's the most dominant guy in our sport. He's probably one of the toughest guys to beat in a shootout with 22 laps to go.
Of all the tracks where the Sprint Cup Series competes, this is the one and only track where Kyle does not have some kind of NASCAR victory.
Ran a great race yesterday, finished second, had a good truck at the end of the day, but not as good as Johnny Sauter, who passed him with 1 to go.
And that was a bump and run.
It was, and you don't see that very often, but Kyle was very gracious about it. He's been a very gracious young man this year.
How about the second place car, Steve?
Well, Mike, Jeff Gordon just telling his crew about Kyle Busch. He says the 18 is driving in about 2 car lengths deeper than I am. If he can keep doing that, well, I guess he's the man.
And that's why he waved him by. I mean, Jeff Gordon has enough, he knows this joint well enough to know how hard can I push it and make it to the end.
Third place car, or excuse me, he was earlier. Clint Boyer has now faded to 8th place and down to 10th. Krista, what's up?
Yeah, Mike just trying to hang on to a top 10 right now. He's perplexed out there. The adjustment didn't work. He said, Shane Wilson, crew chief said, just hold on to it. We'll get you fixed up. In the meantime, Clint's asking, well, should I move up the racetrack? Is there a better line? What can I do to not lose any more positions?
Well, and Krista, one thing he had to deal with just a few laps ago were 3 drivers with 4 fresh tires like Dale Earnhardt Jr., Juan Pablo Montoya, and our pole sitter, Jamie McMurray.
Boy, things keep getting heated, though. These are a bunch of lead lap cars. They have been most of the day battling back and forth for position. Now, Biffle is a lap down. Reagan's on the lead lap out of that group.
Yeah, Ruderman, David Ruderman, who has been running the top 10 most of the day, all of a sudden his car's junk. You see there, he gets run over again by Brian Vickers in the 83 car, but Ruderman's going backwards.
Kurt Busch back up on the lead lap. And Jimmy Johnson in 3rd place, 2 seconds off the lead, lurking.
Yes, and Mike, he is now almost within inside his average over the last 9 races here. 2.8. He's running 3rd.
Now, I know Kyle Busch has a 1.5 second lead over Jeff Gordon, but he has caught the tail end of the field, and there is a bunch of race cars up there, a bunch of drivers he's going to have to deal with. This should close the gap for Jeff Gordon a little bit.
See if this pile of traffic gives Gordon a chance to reel him in. Jeff Gordon's has 15 Sprint Cup short track wins, the last of which came right here in the fall of 2005. 91 laps to go on the short track that thinks it's a super speedway, Martinsville, Virginia. Jeff Gordon leads the league in short track victories with 15, his most recent coming here. 10 for Jimmy, 7 each for Kurt, Kyle, and Mark Martin. Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart 6 apiece, and all but Stewart and Kurt Busch have figured at the front of the field. Mark Martin has run up in the top 10 here, but served a penalty, took the wave around. He's just one away in 11th right now. So Kyle leads by 1.4 seconds with 81 laps to go.
You saw Jeff Gordon stick his hand out the window there to tell Kyle Busch to go on. Heard his radio say, you know, if he can go down in there that hard with 100 laps to go, he's the man. So far, so good for 18.
Jimmy Johnson no longer lurking, but now trying to charge that car to the front. He is 2 seconds off the lead right now. And Denny Hamlin, first half of the race, he was a contender, but since then, a slow pit stop put him a little back in the running order, and he's not recovered.
And Kevin Harvick in that 29 car right there running in the 5th position with 80 laps to go, 79 laps to go right now. This is the first car that could go the distance without stopping of those top 5.
Just real quickly on the 11 car, I think he's just looking for a solid finish. I don't like to hear that, and I don't like to say that, but I think he's trying to get out of that hole he dug for himself.
A.J. Allmendinger's looking for all of it. He has been the fastest Ford all weekend here. Currently runs in 6th.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88, same boat as Kevin Harvick in the 29. He was on pit road that last caution lap 372. Should we stay green, he's another car that could go to the end.
Jamie McMurray, our pole sitter, has run at the front today. Had a pit road penalty for a missing lug nut not long ago. That pushed him back in the order a bit. He's rebounded to 8th. Right behind him, Matt Kenseth, who overcame a lane changing penalty at the very start of the race, even though it took him till almost halfway to get back on the lead lap. He's done well since. He is 9th. Krista?
At the start of this race, Mike, I said Juan Pablo Montoya would be in the mix, but here's the thing. He was in the mix last year before their brakes went away. Crew Chief Brian Patty said, we gave him as much braking as we possibly could. These brakes could stop the locomotive. If we have brakes at the end of this race, we will be a factor.
Boy, you're talking about a eventful day. Mark Martin in that 5 car right there sitting in 11th position. He's taken the wave around twice. He had a penalty on a restart back on lap 181 for jumping out of line. He's another car that could go the distance should we stay green.
Yeah, and then got here Clint Boyer, and man, just think how good. When we talked to Boyer when they stopped the race, he was leading the thing. And now he's back here in 12th place, struggling.
Yeah, he was large and in charge, but needs a change. 73 laps to go. Joey Logano second here a year ago and currently runs in 13th place after starting 4th.
I got to tell you, Joey Logano, what's that old saying about got hit more times than Joe Lewis? He has been beat all over. Every time somebody gets around him, they ram into him.
I think the back of his car tells the tale.
I think it does.
Kurt Busch 14th. Spent about half the day off the lead lap. Resource management. Kurt got a free pass, got back on the lead lap, and has run better since, up in 14th. Matt?
Mike, the headway they gained earlier on that handling of that number 99 for Carl Edwards has now reversed itself. It's now extremely tight right before he gets back in the gas. And then he told Bob Osborne that he messed himself up earlier. He hit the curb, bounced off that, and 2 cars got by. He currently is in 15th.
Dave Blaney limping to pit road, almost causing a caution. He's been involved in a couple.
Yeah, again. Looks like another right front tire.
But he will get to pit road this time. Here it is on the front straightaway. Yep, up out of turn 4.
This would be about the 3rd right front to go down for Dave Blaney. And look how close on Clint Boyer in that 33. Close call on the front stretch.
These teams spend thousands of dollars on air boxes to cool their brakes. Now, I'm just not real sure Tommy Baldwin spent thousands of dollars on air boxes to cool his brakes coming here. So that could be some of the bead issues there. Sure, he has the best he can get, but these guys spend hours in the wind tunnel sometime. working with the boxes that cool the air to the brakes.
Regan Smith's been a lead lap car just about all day. Currently runs in 16th. David Reagan on the last caution flag got back on the lead lap to 17th.
And in a driver that's almost a lot like Clint Boyer in the 33, we talked about him the entire first 3/5 of this race. David Rudiman, who started this race up in the 8th position, he has faded to almost going a lap down the last car on the lead lap.
Brad Keselowski in the free pass position, 1 lap down, then Greg Biffle. Now Allmendinger up in 6th as here's 2nd place. Jimmy Johnson inside of Jeff Gordon, and 5-time rolls through to take over 2nd.
Another one of those, like Jeff Gordon just kind of eased up a little bit and told Jimmy to go ahead. Maybe he can get up there and challenge Kyle Busch as he heads into turn 3.
66 laps to go. What about the 6th place car, A.J. Allmendinger? Dick?
Allmendinger has just told his crew the motor is going south, Mike.
What a day he has had. Qualified 6th. He's been in the top 10 almost this entire part of this race with 65 laps to go, sitting there running 6th. And here with 65 laps to go, engine going a little bit sour. There you see owner Richard Petty on top of the hauler.
And up front, Kyle Busch now leads Jimmy Johnson, and the gap is 2 seconds. There's a look at it. Not the length of the straightaway, but certainly most of it. Steve?
And Mike, listening to Jimmy Johnson, he told Chad Canals, my car's a little on edge on exit, but snug in the center. Chad said, well, if you can, get up there and get that 24. It'll really help us if we get a caution. It'll help us on a restart. Jeff Gordon saying his car is loose in, loose off.
Kevin Harvick in the 29 car drives around the outside of Denny Hamlin in the 11 car, and I think he's going to make it work, and he'll take the pass.
Can't believe we talked about how many times did I poke you and say, what's wrong with Hard today? And here he is.
Nothing. That is the first outside pass we've seen today of a quality pass nature. Matt?
Kevin Harvick's car, Mike, has been loose all pretty much today. That's what Denny Hamlin wishes that he was fighting, because it's been extremely tight. Right now, DW, he's just been riding the brake, trying to help get the car to turn in the center of the corner, and it hasn't really helped.
No, there's not a whole lot you can do. When anything gets tight in the middle, it's just its tires. You can do all you want to, brakes or rear brake or whatever you want to, but those tires won't grip. You don't have a whole lot to work with.
There's leader Kyle Busch. Next driver in danger of going 1 lap down is David Rudiman, who runs in 18th after having a top 5 run for a good part of the day.
Over half the race, he stayed there in the top 5 or 6. Rudiman did in the 00. Faded here late, too.
You know, go back to Kevin Harvick in that 29 car we talked about. He was on pit road at that last caution, lap 372, about 20 lap fresher tires. But unless he's working traffic, he is about a 10th and a half quicker than Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Gordon.
The only problem with that, Larry, is the 5 seconds he has to make up with 59 laps to go.
Well, if it stays green, I think I know how he's going to make it up, because we feel like he will not have to come to pit road. Has enough fuel to go to the end.
Matt Kenseth up into the top 10, and that has got to be a relief after the way they started the day. Here's what he's had to say recently.
3 laps are to go here. Somebody tell me something. 66 laps to go. 66. And we're about 8 laps short on fuel. I wish I would have known that before. Okay, I'll start working on it.
Now tell me some good news.
Yeah, but you know what? A driver shouldn't have to ask that question. If you're going to be 8 or 9 laps short on fuel, I might be able to do that for you if I knew it sooner. That's what Matt is saying. Good time to tell me.
So now he's in conservation mode. Let's check with Steve in the 3rd place car.
Well, Mike, remember, it wasn't that long ago, Jeff Gordon said if Kyle Busch could keep driving the car in that deep, he's the man. Just a second ago, he told his team, my car's good, but boy, listen to what he says about Kyle Busch.
It works good. It's just that's what's preventing us from being better. I mean, that 18, it's just driving so hard. I don't see how the hell he's getting away with it.
And that takes us back to what you talked about at the start of the show, Larry, resource management. Jeff Gordon can't believe that Kyle Busch appears to be using up his stuff running the car so hard, and yet keeps going and going.
Well, I think the thing he sounds the most amazed at is how deep he can drive the car off in the corner, still have brakes, and still make the car turn.
Yeah, I've been watching, ever since Jeff Gordon let him by. I said, okay, let me see if I can see anything he's doing wrong. I really can't. I mean, he's just driving hard and going fast.
Kyle Busch leads Jimmy Johnson by a second and a half. Jeff Gordon a further second and a half back with 53 to go in the Goody'S Fast Relief 500. Kyle Busch is just with Carl Edwards 1 lap down, so Kyle's the first of 16 lead lap cars with 45 laps to go in Martinsville. That Joe Gibbs Toyota running first, and another one in fifth, Denny Hamlin. They bracket the Chevys of Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and Jeff Gordon. Watch Kevin Harvick. As a lap ago, he went to work on Jeff Gordon. Now that's Rudeman up on the outside, making it a little close. And here's the fifth place car, Denny Hamlin, who was the first to stop under the last green flag stops. Now he's on pit road for the last stop of the day. Matt?
Mike, the biggest thing Denny Hamlin wants is Mike Ford to fix his race car, free it up. It's just been consistently tight for about the last 300 laps. They're going to make a chassis adjustment, wrench in the back window, trying to get Mr. Martinsville back on track.
Robbie Gordon also on pit road. Many will stop, some may not, as we're just 42 laps from the finish.
Yeah, and this would be a long time to run on a set of tires, Larry, and nobody's had any issues. Be a lot of laps on a set of tires.
But remember, we made a green flag stop earlier in the race. I feel like it will not be that long until Kyle Busch in the 18, Jimmy Johnson in the 48 will be on pit road. We're quite sure they cannot make it to the end on fuel. The guy will be watching. We've talked about him and talked about him here of late. Kevin Harvick in that 29 car, we feel like they can make it.
Hamlin lost just 1 lap on the pit exchange. Now, the last time he was the first to stop, he came back on track and was running almost half a second a lap faster than the leader. Harvick keeps charging forward. We're in the last 10% of the race, and that's when he's at his best. Kurt Busch and Casey Mears come to pit lane. Busch worked himself back up onto the lead lap, and this will drop him from it. Tony Stewart also in, along with Joey Logano. Green flag stops with just 38 laps to go. Greg Biffle also in.
See, thinking we know how once it cycles through, right now Denny Hamlin is about a lap and a half behind Kevin Harvick with 37 laps to go. The only way he catches him is a caution.
Here you go. Here's the 18's at the line now, 48's at the line now, 29 at the line now. They're pretty equally spaced out right now.
Now Brad Keselowski is in, and A.J. Allmendinger has come to pit lane. Earlier we heard a radio transmission, Allmendinger complaining about a sour engine. It was not his engine, we want to correct. He was talking about when he passed Ryan Newman, how Newman's engine sounded sour. Dick?
Trouble turn 2, guys.
Uh-oh. Hard in the wall, Regan Smith. And caution is out. Now Jeff Gordon is in the pit lane, so he will drive on through. Keselowski is done. He comes out. So it'll take us a minute to figure out who the winners and losers are on this, the 11th caution of the day.
Anybody that just stopped before this, of course, you can take the wave around. That's one good thing.
That's true.
And there's no question that's what Denny Hamlin will do, because he's by far not the first car 1 lap down.
Actually, it's a good scenario for the wave around. You've pitted, and you can wave around, and you got tires too. So
let's look ahead from Kyle Busch's onboard camera.
138 ahead up top.
Regan Smith just
Spinning
spun.
ahead. Stay low. Stay low. Going to get a caution right here.
And the reaction in Kevin Harvick's pit, his wife Delana looking on. Krista.
Kyle Busch was okay if this stop came under green. He trusts his crew that much. He said, I just need to be freed up a skosh. How about 3/8 on the track bar? Kyle knows this is his chance. Steve?
4 tires for Jimmy Johnson. They've already made a chassis adjustment, Matt.
Steve, the Bud team going to work. Left side on this 29 machine. No adjustments for Harvick. They finally have the car where he wants it.
Kyle Busch at 18, he has this pit road speed system worked out. He speeds just enough in a segment to beat the 48, but gets slowed down to be 30 miles an hour, or you have up to 35 in that particular segment.
Now there will be no free pass. Apparently Regan Smith, who brought out the caution, was the first car 1 lap down when that happened. Well, so at the moment we have 16 cars on the lead lap. That counts 5 that are in position for the wave around: Allmendinger, Rudiman, Edwards, Vickers, and Hamlin. Now, you talk about rare mistakes. Here's one. Jimmy Johnson gets a speeding ticket, too fast entering his pit.
And here's going to be the problem. With 30 laps to go, with 37 cars on the racetrack, remember the penalty tail into the longest line.
Kyle Busch just ahead of him. We're not sure in what segment of pit road.
I believe it might have been right there.
It was too fast entering, all right. His pit box.
Yeah, that was it.
Jimmy Johnson trying to extend a string of 17 races here that he has finished in the top 10. Chris Myers, it's been an eventful day in Martinsville as usual.
All right, Mike, let's recap. 11 leaders, 28 lead changes, and action got heated here on lap 221 when it was Truex and Kane in this wreck caused by a stuck throttle. Both drivers okay, but out of the race. Kurt Busch sliding into Bobby Labonte. Kurt was running 15th at the time, not a factor today. Ryan Newman came in second in points, started second, but has a tire problem here. And Jeff Burton, who led the most laps the last time they ran here, with some problems showing the damage, the wear and tear the drivers have gone through. And this is the way it looks. Kyle Busch has led the most laps. Jeff Hammond, not only are cars beat up, but the nerves are frayed at this point.
Oh, right now, everything's getting worn out. The brakes are getting worn out. The bodies are getting worn out. The attitudes, the temper, everything is just really kind of ramping up. The only guy out there right now thinks is kind of having fun has got to be our leader. And the other guy we were looking at a minute ago, that was Kevin Harvick. All of a sudden, he is on the scene looking to try to make a move.
And how about Matt Kenseth, who went a lap down 5th? That leaderboard of Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Harvick trying to win back-to-back for the first time since September of 2006, Mike, with just 30 laps to go.
Thanks, Chris. 12 cars took the wave around. Those were the cars that had just made green flag pit stops prior to this caution. And Jimmy Johnson, the penalty he has to serve is starting at the tail end of the longest line. So we should have 14 lead lap cars when we restart.
Yeah, we were just debating that, you know, whether all those wave around cars, that if you have to go behind them too.
Right now, he's about the middle of the pack, and we're going to get a green flag.
As the wave around cars catch up, Johnson was already at the tail end of what was the longest line. So here we go, green. To settle it, short track shootout style, 30 laps to go. Kyle Busch trying to hold off Dale Earnhardt Jr. and guess who? Kevin Harvick.
But Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88, he has the bottom line on Kevin Harvick in the 29. He'll take that second spot away, and here comes Montoya in the 42.
Juan Montoya is there. He's under Harvick. Up to the door and gone. And now here comes Matt Kenseth. Harvick can't get inside.
They did sweep this turn right. They backed him to third and fourth turn. Looks like that helped that outside line a little bit, as Harvick is trying desperately to get down right there behind Montoya and in front of Matt Kenseth.
From McMurray, the 6th place car. Kenseth and Harvick right there. McMurray still in it to win it. In 6th place, Mark Martin is 7th, Bowyer is 8th, Jeff Gordon 9th, and Reagan 10th. The rest of the lead lap cars, Johnson, Edwards, Hamlin, and Vickers.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., he is not letting that 18 car of Kyle Busch get very far away from him. Be 25 to go this time.
Earnhardt has not led today, but don't let that worry you. Last week, Harvick led only one lap, the last lap.
Just like the way he's getting up off the corner really well right now. That's where the strong suit for the 18's been as well. So that's two pretty equal cars right there right now.
His crew chief, Steve Letarte, has been to victory lane here with Jeff Gordon. Jr. is there. He gets right up against the back bumper of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he gets through the middle. Jr. gets through the middle really, really good. Two pretty equal cars on exit.
All race long, Kyle Busch has been the best at getting off turn 2, and he yards Jr. by a car length down the backstretch. Jr. makes it right up entering the corner, though.
Yeah, I think right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's having to slow his car down a lot in the middle because the 18's not going.
But the 18 doesn't want to give up the bottom. Overdrive the corner, slide up a little bit, open the door, and that 88 will be by, and he knows that. So he's protecting that bottom a little bit right now.
He took a look that time off turn 2, but here comes Montoya right up to the rear bumper.
What Jr. doesn't want to do is get impatient here and try to make a move up on the outside. That is not a good idea.
Well, these two drivers have a short track history late in the race. Richmond, May of 2008, they got together. Clint Boyer won it.
I thought Jr. was going to have a look on the inside going into 3, but he thought better of it.
He had a look, Darrell, but not the legs at the end of the straightaway. Not that time.
You know what he's doing, Darrell? He's starting to diamond it just a little bit, like Jeff Gordon, getting it up a little bit. That lets him get that good run. Looks like he may get there this time.
He's got a nose. He's got a look. He's got a look.
Can Busch give him room?
Yes.
No, they touch
into
it. And Junior gets the lead.
Oh, that's not going to be. Clear. Not a happy camper.
And the crowd goes wild.
I was going to say, Kyle Busch may not be a happy camper. About 90,000 people are right now here at Martinsville.
And here comes the closer, Harvick on the inside of Montoya. He is up for third. 20 laps to go. This is far from over.
Junior better drive it like he stole it right now.
Out the windshield,
right,
not the back glass. Just remember, 98 races since Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won.
He is pulling away too, Larry. That thing is scooting up off that corner.
Last year, Steve Letarte was leading this race with a lap or two to go, and his driver, Jeff Gordon, got into it with Matt Kenseth. Neither of them won it. Hamlin did. So here is Letarte looking for redemption and for his first win as Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief.
This thing is far from over, but Rick Hendrick swapping 3 of the drivers and teams around during the offseason. One of those combinations won Phoenix, Jeff Gordon, Alan Gustafson. Here with 18 to go. Second one is leading the race.
Look out now. There comes the 29, and Kyle's already a little aggravated. Got that push by the 88 getting into 3.
Oh, by the way, 2 laps ago, Kevin Harvick ran the fastest lap of anybody in this race.
Right now, Kevin Harvick may be Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s best friend because he's aggravating that Kyle Busch in that 18.
Boy, it's just a fine line getting off of the corner here. If you get it right, you really go. If you don't, you lose a lot of time.
Here's what's going to be another fine line. With 15 laps to go, I think they're going to catch some of these lap cars at the back of the field.
Darrell, this is good as it gets. 4 drivers fighting for the win on a Sunday afternoon, and Harvick has a look inside Kyle Busch exiting 2.
I'm going to tell you right now, my hot dog is churning. Old Harv is taking a hard look. He's got a nose. He's got to run. He's going to stick it in there.
And he's got the room.
Kyle had to let him go, man. He couldn't afford to cut down.
Harvick could take the position going down into turn 3.
And Dale Jr. takes off.
Yeah, but I'd be
corner. Still hanging on the outside.
I'd be worried about that 29 if I was Dale Jr. because he's coming.
13 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. clears Carl Edwards in the 99 car.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. running from a 98 race winless streak. Kevin Harvick trying to win back-to-back races. And they are just 0.9 of a second apart with 13 to go.
But that lap traffic is going to hurt Junior just a little bit there. Finally clears Newman down the back.
But up ahead where Brian Vickers is on the outside of Bobby Labonte, that's the log jam.
be a
Now
problem.
Vickers gets in line. Junior looking for the inside against Vickers.
Well, he's stuck behind Vickers right there, but he's going to get a run off too and clearing.
That lap there, Kevin Harvick about a half of a tenth off the 88 car. They'll be coming to 10 to go.
Right now, Junior's got it made right now. I mean, he's got one more car to get by up here.
Bobby Labonte.
71 car of
Hermie
Sadler up there.
Labonte did a nice thing and pulled over aside from the leaders, let them go.
Carved a tenth and a half off that lap. There'll be 9 to go this time.
I don't believe Harvick would be shy about using that bumper if he had to.
Hermie Sadler trying to finish this out for Kevin Buckler's team. Stays up on the high side. And Junior caught him in a great place, the middle of the back straightaway, where it didn't slow either one of them down.
Yeah, but it hurt his entry on turn 3, and that's where Harvick really closed up big time right there.
But Kevin lost a little bit of time there on the exit of turn 4.
8 to go.
Pretty clean racetrack out in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr. now. Lost another tenth to Harvick.
When you haven't won a race in 2 years, and you're looking in your mirror and there's a guy closing and you're looking at the scoreboard saying, come on, man, I can hold him off 8 more laps, 7 now.
And Kevin Harvick winning at Auto Club Speedway, he knows if he can win 2 races here this early, probably put him in the chase in 2011.
Those 7 laps might be 3 too many. Here comes Harvick. He is there within a car length of Dale Jr.'s back bumper. 6 laps to go.
I think he can get there, but I'm just saying Junior's car just good enough on corner exit. It's going to be hard for Harvick to get a nose under him.
Yeah, he really closes it up right there. Pulls within about a half a car length.
But Junior is driving in pretty easy, and Harvick is overdriving, trying to get to him.
5 to go.
And there's 2 lap cars out there that they may very well catch.
Junior gets just a little bit better run off of turn 2. Gives him a little gap.
Harvick is there. He gets underneath, and Junior holds him off.
No, I don't think so. He's going to take him right here.
Position. There it is.
Got him.
Outside.
Junior got loose down there in 3 and 4. Opened the door for Harvick.
He's not going to give up. Here he comes back.
Junior crosses under. He's got the inside. Eases into the corner. Gives Harvick a bump.
Whoa, Junebug.
But Harvick sticks to the bottom and holds Junior a car length back. 3 laps to go. And here comes Kyle.
They have company. Yeah, but Harvick's car is pretty darn good.
2 laps to go this time. Kyle Busch right to the back bumper of Junior, who has lost a car length to Harvick.
Junior's car's just gotten loose on him. The last couple of laps, he's been a little loose off turn 4.
White flag next time by. Harvick may catch the lap traffic of David Gilliland and Michael McDowell. White flag in the air. Tick-tock, grandfather clock. Harvick to the inside on Gilliland.
He's
Kyle Busch underneath Dale Jr.
Did Junior give Harvick, did Junior give the 18 car a little tap there earlier?
And here comes Kevin Harvick, the closer. Clinches the deal 2 weeks in a row.
Junior got him.
And Junior holds off Kyle Busch.
You guys amazed me. Good job. That was a lot of fun.
Junior pulls up alongside Harvick and gives him a wave.
That was good racing, boys.
It is Kevin Harvick.
That's why these are 500 lap races, man. You got all day to work on them. Excellent job, everybody. Big crew, Billy. Excellent job.
Calling out spotter Billy O'Day. And Dale Jr. comes so close. For Harvick, his 16th career win, 2nd in a row. And his first win at Martinsville in 20 starts. 3rd Cup win on a short track. 7th win here for Richard Childress Racing. The first came with Ricky Rudd back in the early 80s. Harvick spins it around and salutes the crowd, Alan Kulwicki style.
A lot of respect right there between those two guys. Like to see that.
Here's that last quarter of a lap. Harvick well out front. Look at the run Junior gets off the corner. He and Kyle so close at the wire. Second to Earnhardt by
inches.
Less than 2/100ths of a second.
Ooh, that's not even inches. Milli-inches.
Well, Harvick led more than the last lap today. He led 3 times for 6 laps, including the final 4 circuits. Kevin Harvick heads for victory lane in Martinsville.
NASCAR on Fox live here in Virginia, where Kevin Harvick held off Dale Earnhardt Jr. on a record-setting day with lead changes. So back-to-back, first time for Harvick since 2006, and Matt Yoakum is down there enjoying the celebration.
Kevin Harvick has now scored wins at Martinsville in all of NASCAR's top 3 series. What an e-ticket win, old short track style. A great bump and run, and then Dale Jr. almost got the move back on you.
Yeah, you know, I just, first off, I want to thank everybody from Budweiser, Jimmy John's, Ream, Chevrolet, Sprint, the fans. Let me not forget everybody this week. SKF Hunt Brothers champion Sherwin-Williams, Odyssey Batteries.
What about the driver?
Menards. Just an awesome day. I didn't think we had the car to do that, and came back up through there, and we put those 2 tires on, and all of a sudden I got to the front and everything was woke up. So had a lot of fun racing with Dale Jr. I hate to be the guy that's the bad guy here, but we're in it to win it.
What kind of statement does it send the competition? Back-to-back wins by this team so early in the season.
Well, I mean, I think it just shows what we're made of again today. I mean, we crashed, we fell back to the last car and lead lap just about there the first run, and just everybody on this RCR Budweiser Chevrolet team has done a great job, and we just keep fighting. And we had something left to race there at the end, and heck, it wound up going. I didn't believe them when they told me it was fast, but when we got towards the front, I was like, man, they weren't lying to me, so it was pretty cool.
Well, Delana let you put this grandfather clock finally in the house?
As long as we have it, we can put it anywhere. I'm not going to get in an argument.
Chris?
All right, thanks. Well, Richard Childress Racing in victory lane, that hasn't happened at Martinsville since 1995 when Dale Earnhardt pulled in, and maybe conjuring up memories of the Intimidator, the way Harvick has been working. So the closest Dale Earnhardt Jr. has come to victory, maybe some 99 races. Our Steve Burns spoke with him moments ago.
Well, Dale, I heard you apologize to your guys as you came across the start-finish line. Thinking back on it now, you've had just a couple of minutes, but was there anything you could have done different?
I don't know. I tried to put together some laps there, but though the back of the car just wasn't into the track quick enough. And, I mean, at 29, he was coming, and wasn't much I could do. Got a little loose down into 1. I wanted to do a little bit of a crossover move, and I thought I had that, but we got down into turn 3, and I wanted to keep my nose there, but not rough him up too much. I'd already gotten into Kyle pretty hard and racing for the lead there, and I just tried to keep the nose in there without just turning him sideways and allowing, you know, Kyle to get into the mix. I don't know what I could have done different. We didn't have that great of a car. We weren't fast all day. We were a top 10 car, but not a race-winning car, and we worked on it real hard, but we didn't make any gains, really. We made some changes that did things, but nothing really give the car any speed. And Steve did an awesome job with the pit strategies, is what got us up there. That's all it was. And the car was good enough for 15 laps to run past those guys and try to get out there and get a big lead, but just not enough.
Dale, it's obvious that you guys are making a lot of progress, and as Rick Hendrick shakes your hand, are you more frustrated that you didn't win, or more encouraged that you ran as well as you did?
You know, I don't know. I think I'm just happy to be running well, happy to be in the mix. I'm thankful for the opportunity I've got, thankful for the help that I've got with my team. I want to thank AMP and National Guard and all our supporters, but the race team works hard, and when I don't have the speed, they find the speed, and you know, it's working real good together. I'm frustrated I got close, and I was out there leading, and I was thinking, I'm going to try to take me home a clock, and, you know, I hate I didn't win.
This is a great old racetrack. Saw you and Kyle talking after you got out of the race cars and shaking hands. What'd you guys say?
I don't think Kyle was real happy, but it's just racing hard, trying to win. I ain't won in a long time, and I really didn't spin him out or nothing. Just had a little bit of a nose off of 2 and tried to hold my ground without being obnoxious about it. And I think it all kind of worked out. And when the 29 got there, I tried to, not do any more than that. I didn't want to be the bad guy today, but we'll win our share of races. I got a long time to go left, and sure would like one of them clocks. One of the wins here would be really, really nice. It's just, I love this place. It's a fun racetrack, and the tire did really good. I want to tell everybody we all complained about it, and it ended up working out okay. We want it to be better, no doubt, but we got through this weekend, and let's just try to bring something better back next time. Thank you, Dave.
All right, thanks, Steve. As emotional and as competitive as we've seen Dale Earnhardt Jr. in a long time, and he talked about getting the grandfather clock. And we're heading to Texas next, so if you turn back the hands of time, that's where Junior won his first ever race at Texas in April of 2000. But a second-place finish here. Kyle Busch was third after leading the most laps, 151, and our Chris Devoto spoke with him.
As Kyle Busch climbed out of his race car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was here. I don't know if that lessened any anger or frustration when Junior got into the back of you, and was that the difference?
No, it wasn't a difference. Just didn't have a short run car today. Unfortunate. Pedigree Camry was awesome. Really, really good on the long runs. Just wasn't a long run race there at the end.
And when you made that adjustment, too, and you saw Earnhardt and Kevin Harvick battling, did you think, hey, if they just go after each other, I can slide back up there?
Sure. I mean, they were getting after it, and I gained on them and got there, just not enough time.
And the adjustment, was it the right one to make at the end there?
Yeah, made the car better, just not better enough.
All right, Kyle Busch had the long run car, the best on the long runs today here at Martinsville. He settles for a third.
Thank you, Krista. Short and to the point, but he's your new points leader. We'll show you the points. We'll hear from Jeff Gordon. A lot more victory celebration. Kevin Harvick leads the final 4 laps and goes back to back. We're back live in Virginia. Dale Earnhardt Jr. can smile now as he chats with Jeff Gordon, who wound up 5th today. And there's Steve Letarte, the crew chief, formerly with Gordon, now with Dale Earnhardt Jr. We checked the points after 6 races of 36 that matter. Carl Edwards came in with a narrow lead and loses that to Kyle Busch. Kevin Harvick all the way up to 5th after going back-to-back. Juan Pablo Montoya, we'll hear from him in a moment, hanging in there at 7th. Jeff Gordon, and he has a win. That matters after the top 10 with the new chase format, because after the top 10, it's not so much about points, it's about victories. So let's check in with Dick Berggren, who is with Mr. Gordon.
Jeff Gordon, winningest driver in Martinsville. Good run today, but not the best. Didn't win it. What would it have taken to win the race today?
We did have a great day with our drive to Hunger Chevrolet. Don't forget to text 50555, Hunger to 50555 to help us out. But I was real proud of Alan and all the guys in this team today. We weren't great at the beginning. We just worked our way up there slowly, took our time, we're patient. And then we had our race car that could run with these guys, and we got there, took the lead. That one time I got real loose, but I don't know. It just seemed like the track changed a little bit on us there at the end. And that caution did not help us any either, so that caught us behind. I thought it was an awesome day for us to drive up to 5th there at the end.
Good job today. Congratulations.
Thanks, Dick. And Jeff, at our post-race show live, as we bring in the guys from the booth, Darrell, Larry, and Mike, and on the pre-race show, when he spoke with Kevin Harvick, Darrell talked about, are you obsessed with the 48 team? And we talk bigger picture here, championship. Kevin Harvick, at least the last 2 weeks, has looked like a guy on a mission for it, not just to win a race, but a championship.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, he's really flexed his muscle. Gil Martin has made a lot of the right calls, and the only thing I'm disappointed about as we watched down there on Victory Lane is, DW, I didn't see him do your icky shuffle after he told you what, and you told it to him.
Listen, I saw right away the boy can't dance. Now he can drive, but he can't dance.
Well, he's still learning how to wind that grandfather clock. He'll get some lessons. A long-standing tradition of Martinsville, the Ridgeway Clock Company, just 2 miles down the road, made those clocks for years, and now Kevin's got one. But what I love about this place is I can look down that ticker, the one up above, and find 8, maybe 9 different drivers that at some point during the day you could point to and say, he's going to win this race.
I just thought it was fantastic, though, the way it ended. We've had so many last lap passes and so many exciting finishes to all these races, and today didn't disappoint us. We started this day off, we were a little worried about tires. We were a little worried about this, a little worried about that. We should have been worried about an exciting finish, because that's what we had. And for Harvick to win this thing 2 in a row, and Junior to run like he did, and to clip Kyle Busch at the line by inches, great day.
Larry, what does it say about the fact we talked about resource management? We hardly saw Kevin Harvick all day until the last 10% of the race.
Well, and I think that's pretty common. I think that was almost the case at Auto Club Speedway. You know, he looks after his car. He looks after everything he needs to be looking over, and then he looks for the end of the scoreboard, the final laps of the race, and that's when he shows up. To me, the amazing story, and they were for two different reasons. The two drivers that has dominated this place, they've won the last 9 races here, but they don't even get a top 10 finish with good race cars. Denny Hamlin got burnt because of pitting under green, a caution coming out, and then Jimmy Johnson on that last caution busted for speeding on pit road. I want to give a shout out to 2 drivers that really needed a top 10 finish. Our pole sitter Jamie McMurray gets one, and David Reagan, who's been fast all year long in that 6 car, he finally gets himself a top 10 finish.
Well, let's show you what Jeff was referring to that happened. We saw it during the pre-race when Darrell sat down earlier this weekend with Kevin Harvick, giving him a little advice on what to do after he wins.
You want me to do the Icky shuffle? I can't. Come on, man. Let me see you. I'll show you how. Come on. Here you go. Look. You get up on this one. So come on. Get up on this one. You get up on this one. And you get up on this one, and then you give them one of these, and then you spike it. All right.
All right, I think that's just icky, right? But he, you know, he asked him about all the nicknames too. Closer, Bakersfield Basher, and back-to-back is what he's enjoying today. Meanwhile, Juan Pablo Montoya was terrific today as well. They didn't lead a lap, hanging in there in points as well. Let's check in with him.
Juan Pablo Montoya, a good day today at Martinsville. Did you have fun?
Yeah, we had a good day. You know, we qualified horrible yesterday in the Target Chevy, but you know, everybody did an amazing job. We had a good race car. It was really good in the long runs. That really helped us out, and you know, good calls on the team, and you know, we look good at the end.
All right, congratulations on a strong run. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dick. And what nickname did I?
Yeah, you forgot Happy Harvick. He's
right.
Victor Lane.
He's very happy. So is his wife. They might both get in the fire suit tonight. Celebrate. We'll have a lot more in just a moment. Promotional considerations provided by our first repeat winner of the year, and back-to-back for the first time in his career. Kevin Harvick has never won 3 in a row. Jeff Hammond, we go to Texas. Can he pull it off?
Yes, he can. I mean, right now he's on a roll. This guy has been able to close it out. It's short track. You know, he won at California, so you got to believe these guys are getting it done. But the thing I like is all of a sudden we're seeing some momentum by the 88. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is looking strong, going back to a racetrack where he's won before. I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., 99 races without a win. He said this week when asked about the streak, he's not thinking about it. He thinks he's closer to winning than he has been in a long time, and we saw that today.
Definitely so. And again, I almost wanted to say, Dale Jr., you know, you had an opportunity to win this race. Don't worry about Kevin Harvick's feelings. I'm sure he wouldn't be worried about yours if she was on the other foot. So, you know, I'm glad he raced him clean, but at the same time, I wouldn't have been upset at all if he'd have gave him a little bit more of a bump to get home and get that one win.
But he was aggressive. And you heard Junior say, and Harvick, hey, I don't want to be the bad guy. I don't want to be the bad guy. Well, somebody has to be the winning guy, and right now it's smiling, happy Harvick.
Happy Harvick.
Tonight on Fox, if you're looking for April Fools just a few days after that, animation, don't look at me like that, Jeff Hammond. Animation domination has you covered, because when it comes to fools, we have the coolest of fools of all, and they're not in the Hollywood Hotel.
Thank God.
No feeling. It starts at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, and it's a Super Saturday. We hope you're with Fox starting at 1 o'clock Eastern. Note the earlier time, that's 10 Pacific. Some great baseball with the Yankees and Red Sox, Phillies and Braves. And then NASCAR on Fox, our pre-race show, 7 Eastern, 6 Texas time, delivered by Pizza Hut as we come to you from the Great American Speedway, where Denny Hamlin swept the races last year and he led some laps today. For more on this race, you can get your coverage with our friends over at Speed. And Jimmy Johnson, of course, threatened a little bit, have that pit road speeding penalty. For him, a mistake late in a race like that. It's like Aaron Rodgers throwing an interception in the red zone in a playoff game. You just don't see it very often. But it helped Kevin Harvick get past Dale Earnhardt Jr. to pull it off. And congratulations to Eric Shanks and his wife on their new baby. Thanks for watching NASCAR on Fox.